Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto becomes strongest Anbu part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. The small touch was enough to bring him back to the land of the living. He was a rather heavy sleeper, but with his mind and body in full combat mode, sleep if you might call it that was light. It was more akin to a quick, rejuvenating meditation than anything else. He turned to the hand that shook him awake, needing a black Anbu uniform and stylized cat mask. Fingers moved quickly in Anbu battle speak, the crisp and clear signing of a veteran, barely recognizable from the small twitches. He nodded, throwing a quick look behind at the smaller figure in a blank white mask. Cat mask only made a decisive cut with her hand. He turned to the blank-masked one, who was making the exaggerated battle gestures taught to most chunin, instead of quick Anbu speak. The girl tensed, reading the message, and shook her head furiously. He repeated the message, this time ending it with a clear-cut form, almost insulting in its exaggerated manner. Order. Comply. Now. The girl settled down, still tense. He almost sighed. It was picture-perfect rookie behavior, complete with a put-out pose that almost screamed, "I'm Anbu too, you know." Sheesh. Was he ever like that? He couldn't remember. There was a quick rustle as the cat-masked Anbu vanished with a quick shunshin. There were no leaves, of course. No need to distract anybody, and it might give you away. Standard Anbu pattern. He made the seal, losing himself in a rapid torrent of movement. Shunshin was, despite many misconceptions, not a teleport of any kind. It was just a mind-boggling fast burst of speed, allowing you to move at speeds faster than the normal eye could follow for a very short duration. Shunshin was a deceptively simple technique to learn, and a hard one to master. It also had several glaring limitations. The discharge of chakra made it possible for a halfway decent opponent to estimate your direction. You could only move in straight line. You needed to see exactly where you were going, and crashing into something at that speed? Not advisable. It was also incredibly hard on the body, which was why even most hardened jounin used it sparingly. Once, during the jounin selection exams, he'd seen an idiot chunin with more endurance than brains use it several times in a row. By the fifth attempt, he had blood gushing out of his eyes, ears, and nose, and his legs were mangled beyond belief. He later learned that the jounin wannabe also had several cases of internal bleeding as his organs had ruptured from the strain. Poor fucker died shortly afterward. Even the medic nin were helpless when the injuries were so violently infused with chakra. Genin didn't know this, but they were taught the first stages of the shunshin when they learned kawarimi, one of the most basic techniques. Of course, kawarimi was slow, the seals were completely different, and the chakra molding differed in the final application, but the basic theory remained the same. And the two skills had some similar limitations. Each genin in academy got one very serious warning after learning kawarimi, to never ever use it more than twice in a row. Every year, some idiot genin wannabe did. Every year that idiot ended up crippled from the strain. The symptoms were glaringly similar, though the ones from kawarimi were less extreme, to anyone who had seen them both and had half a brain to figure it out. Once he understood that, well, kawarimi suddenly became his favorite technique, bar none. Learning a cool jutsu that made running child's play? It was simply too much of an opportunity for the jutsu-starved mind of a prankster like him. Not to say that coaxing shunshin out of kawarimi had been easy, especially when he didn't know the seals, but he managed. It took a reasonably talented jounin about 6 months to learn the proper shunshin. It took years to use it with just one seal, as some elite jounin were so fond of doing. He had his down in too. He was probably the only shinobi in history to learn shunshin via brute force. The wonders of Kyubi-given regeneration were not to be overestimated. The very next day, the Hokage had ordered him to perform the rudimentary shunshin in front of Irika. 5 times. He graduated from the academy that day. The memory of the look in the eyes of the uneasy chunin instructors as he took his hitaite and walked out without a second glance still warmed his heart to this day. He had been 9 years old. Barely a year later, he was on a C-class mission that had suddenly gone straight to hell. Enemy Anbu were fleeing, Konoha Anbu chased them, ninja on both sides were dying in gory ways, and a set of hapless genin were stuck in the middle. He used a full-scale shunshin 3 times in a row out of sheer desperation. The very moment he returned from the mission, he was recruited to Anbu Ops Team 4. Sometimes, life was full of irony. He had been 10 years old, the 5th youngest Anbu in history of the Corps, and the 3rd to become one as a genin. The first was the unquestioned master of the Shunshin, and later, the Hiraishin, Konoha's Yellow Flash, Kazama Erasure, who became the Yondaime Hokage. Reputedly the strongest ninja to ever live. Man who sealed the Kyuubi no Yuko in the belly of Uzumaki Naruto. Irony. He shook his head. Wool gathering in the middle of a dangerous speed technique? He really should have known better. He made another seal, and let himself be carried by the Shunshin. It took barely 3 seconds and 1 word to turn a meticulously planned op into a fucking mess. Ironically, it wasn't even their rookie, that is. He just knew, that working with Hunter Nine on this was a mistake. For all their skill and dedication, despite the fact they were still ANBU, the Hunter Nine saw themselves as a breed apart, the elite of the elite. That was bullshit in Naruto's mind, since given the nature of their missions, ANBU operations and assassination teams were the strongest in terms of ability and raw power. He personally thought it was due to the whole "we hunt the big, bad missing Nine, hear us roar" attitude. As much as the operations division got the self-important, some blinded morons who thought they were the second Hatake Kakashi just because they made it to ops, the Hunter rookies were much, much worse. It really should have been no surprise when the Hunter Nine in training went for glory and big bucks. He got a kunai through his heart instead. And boy was he lucky. With what happened in the next few minutes, Naruto would have torn him apart with his bare hands. Slowly. While kicking jagged glass up his rectum with Konoha Senpu. And he was sure that he would have had to wait until after his team was through with the dumb fuck. There was a small village between cloud and snow country called Hidden Rainbow. It was, obviously, a ninja village, but aside from some good genjutsu users who called it home, there was nothing really remarkable about it. It was a Kage-less village like many others, until Kumogakure decided that they didn't like it all that much. However, on that day, Hidden Rainbow gained one single reason for fame. Or rather, infamy. Hajime Kuran, former Jounin, former ANBU captain known as the Lion, Missing Nin, mercenary, and Psycho who slaughtered assassination teams single-handedly for kicks, came to defend his village. It took 7 elite Jounin to slow him down, another 6 to stop him. And until the Raikage came to break the stalemate, Kuran was swatting down top-ranked Kumo ninja like flies. Multiple top-ranked Kumo ninja. At the same time. And was laughing while doing it. Kuran escaped after the Raikage overpowered him, wandering where his fortune took him, routinely slaughtering the Hunter Nine Kumo sent after him with a smile on his face and a song in his heart. That day, he did the same to some poor bastards of the Konoha Hunter Nine Corps. It was a mistake caused by failed intelligence. There weren't supposed to any ninja of Kuran's ability in the vicinity, save for a few Chunin-level Nuke Nin who preyed on the merchants using this route. Hunter Nine were to eliminate the Konoha Nin, Team 4 was to eliminate the rest and pin down a slime of a genjutsu user who had gotten his grubby hands on some data that Konoha intelligence got a hard on just thinking about. And since dealing with genjutsu had become a sort of specialty of theirs, Team 4 was a natural choice. Apparently, Kuran was as enamored with the data as Konoha intelligence. Which was lucky, because he didn't waste time on small fries, he just smacked them around. That was still enough to leave them all battered and broken, and the acting captain opted to retreat immediately. The idiot Hunter Nine that stayed to capture Kuran didn't have so much luck. Kuran really didn't like Hunter Nine. Making them die was sort of a pastime of his, and he liked to indulge. Then Kagehoshi had arrived, and the mission really went to hell. He groaned. The migraine was fierce enough to make the light shining cheerfully through the window make him nearly puke his guts out on the immaculately clean floor of the ANBU infirmary. He was still sore all over, weak, and everything in his body felt brittle, for lack of a better expression. Which meant something had beat him to the brink of death, because only full-body regeneration via the Foxyuki made him feel this shitty. Joy. Oh God, what hit me? He moaned, closing his eyes again, which didn't help when pipe smoke, heavy with a touch of cinnamon, hit his nose. He knew that pipe smoke almost too well. Migraine, vertigo, pain, numbness, and to top it all off, Sarutobi the Sandaime Hokage with his lectures about will of fire, friendship, giving them a chance, vacancies on genin teams, and other assorted normal life crap. His life was officially hell. He brought his arm up to shield his eyes, and stiffened. His mask was gone. Not the hard mask of the ANBU commissioned officer, but the cloth mask he had used ever since becoming an ANBU. It used to be an undermesh for the hard mask, since the standard ANBU mask was a little too big for a 10-year-old, but even in ANBU, some people reacted better to Mugen than they did to Uzumaki Naruto. And it was good not having to deal with disdainful shopkeepers, who turned almost disgustingly helpful upon seeing the Anbu gear and the mask. And now he was without it. Shit. Disregarding the vertigo, he slid out of bed, wincing as the raw migraine, agitated from the movement, hit him with increased ferocity. He swallowed the bile that rose in his throat, using the bed to steady himself. He rubbed his eyes quickly, trying to get rid of his blurred vision. He knew from experience that shaking his head would only make the migraine that much more potent. It wasn't exactly the first time he had landed with such injuries during his 3-year-old tour of duty with the Operations Division. He took several deep breaths, trying to settle his stomach. Rapid regeneration was a lifesaver, but he always felt like crap afterward. It left his body weak and exhausted for days on end. Speaking of exhaustion, he grimaced, feeling his unsteady legs shaking. Usually, healing left him only exhausted and voraciously hungry, but QB-style rapid regeneration ravaged his reserves and messed up his chakra coils something fierce. The jolts of pain and occasional muscle spasms were a bitch, but the migraine and weakness were the worst. No matter how you looked at it, demon chakra wasn't very compatible with the human body. Even if it granted some interesting abilities, the price was usually very high. And painful. Still, if it meant surviving, he would pay it gladly. Then, the Hokage turned from the window he had been gazing out of for a while, and all unnecessary thoughts got a rapid eviction notice. For it was not the face of Old Man Hokage, the grandfatherly, cranky, and slightly perverted old man. In his place stood Sarutobi, the hard-eyed, calculating shinobi. Each crease and wrinkle on his face was an outward symbol of the knowledge and the power of a ninja who had managed to survive to his autumn years by trouncing each and every obstacle in his way. He had not lost the edge that made him famous as the professor, the ninja who had mastered an unimaginable number of jutsu. Faced with this grim, intimidating visage, Naruto could understand why, despite his age, younger ninja including most Kage were so wary of the old man. He was like an old tiger. His fangs were just as sharp and his claws just as deadly as they were in his youth. Indeed, he was all the more dangerous for the experience age brought him. Sandaime Hokage of Konohagakure, in all his dangerous glory, was a sight to be feared. There was none of the leaking killer intent or subliminal intimidation that younger ninja favored. Sarutobi didn't need such parlor tricks to look damned scary. The hardening of his face, the coldness of his eyes, that was all it took. Anbu. His voice was calm as always, but if such a thing was even possible, it was even more glacial than the eyes. The tone alone made Naruto snap to attention. Report. If he had hoped that the report would calm the Hokage down, Naruto was in for a disappointment. The old ninja left in an even grimmer mood than he had entered, after grilling the young operations specialist with a stream of seemingly unending questions. Just after the door closed, Naruto fell back on the bed with a pained grunt. He would have done so sooner, but that would mean showing weakness. The old man would have probably understood, and Naruto was sorely tempted, as his legs started to turn into 2 jelly pillars of spasming pain, but he stood on for the duration, lest his pain invite yet another grandfatherly tirade. He knew that the old man only did what he thought was best, but he had long ago found that, though Sarutobi meant well, he had a type of selective blindness to some things. That and far too much trust in Konoha and its people. He shook his head tiredly before cursing, as the white spots started to creep slowly into his field of vision from the rapid movements. Migraine aura. Shit. He thought, laying down with exaggerated slowness, not wanting to agitate his throbbing head even more. He had wanted to leave the wing and get home before it started, but it was too late now. In the next 5 minutes the spots would turn into an all-out torrent, and he would be literally blind for the next few hours. Not to mention in enough pain that it would make him want to split his skull open with a kunai just to silence the pulsating waves of pure agony that made his muscle spasms and pains almost nice in comparison. He closed his eyes, trying to breathe slowly and deeply, trying to distance himself from the pain. Breathe and let it flow into me. Stabilize the heart to make it beat slower. Breathe out. It was actually one of the first steps to a meditation technique he had learned from a monk during one of his missions. He had never been good with meditation, his chakra and mind being what they were, but ironically enough, the migraine allowed him to enter a near zen-like state in a matter of minutes, which helped as the vertigo increased, making the room spin wildly. If not for the deep breaths, he would have probably puked by now. In fact, he almost always had after the regeneration until he learned the breathing trick. He was brought out from his reverie by a near silent rustle of cloth that was almost like the scraping of the nails on a blackboard to his senses gone haywire. He felt the cool, delicate hands touch his face, a welcome respite from the burning feeling in his veins. The hands caressed his cheeks for a moment before settling on his forehead, and he sighed at the pleasurable, chilly torrent that slowly crept into his head and seeped into his veins with a gentle firmness. He didn't need to open his eyes to know that the hands were bathed in a greenish, life-giving tinge of healing chakra that slowly made the acidic sludge of his disturbed chakra calm down and recede. The hands went away for a second, before returning with the rustle of cloth that was equally cold when it touched his face, settled on it. With another rustle and a barely there movement, the skilled fingers tied the knot at the back of his head and fastened the cloth securely over his face. The next breath he took was slightly chilly and clean of the typical odor of the hospital air, filtered by the mask. He caught the hand just as it receded, giving it a gentle squeeze, and he could feel two smooth, chilly palms touching him in return. "Thank you," he muttered, opening his eyes. The polarized lenses of his mask, attuned to his chakra with a well-placed seal, immediately dimmed the hurtful rays of the sun, but even then he could see the alabaster features and flowing mane of inky darkness that surrounded them. "How are you feeling?" she asked, gently helping him up, her voice like her hands, chilly but pleasant. "Better," he admitted. "But the jolts are as annoying as always, even after you force them into submission." She frowned, clearly unhappy. "I only force them back for now. They will pick up later. You will need to go through Kyushin as soon as we get home." Naruto stiffened, before relaxing with a long sigh. "So it's that time, is it? I've almost forgotten. Bloodletting shit. I hate it. And the post-regeneration buzz won't help things one bit." He winced. "Goddammit. The seals? I prepared them this morning. They will be complete in a few hours." "Well, no way around that, I guess," he muttered with disgust before leaving that train of thought. "The others?" he asked, getting up gingerly. She helped him up gently, and he awkwardly started shedding his hospital gown as she answered. "Hana-san is fine, although she has a broken arm and the Santenru won't be in fighting shape anytime soon. Kyo-san is shaking off the after-effects of the genjutsu as we speak, but he is weak from the wounds and will need to rest. It's nothing life-threatening, so he should be up and running in a day or two." He finally managed to free himself from the clothes, and she gave him a small package that turned out to be his spare uniform, which he started to put on, cursing under his breath at the occasional spasm. She chased away his hands and buttoned up the shirt herself. Yashiro-san had a few broken ribs, but she is mostly fine, and Tenru-san is nearly unscathed, save for the gash on her abdomen that is already healed. She glared at him as he struggled with yet another button. "Naruto-sama. Do stay still, please." Her voice a saccharine menace that was at odds with her calm face. Sorry. He waved apologetically. "And the rookie?" The young woman's hands froze for a second, before returning to dressing him. Murasaki-san is in coma, Naruto-sama," she said quietly. The genjutsu hit her rather hard. "Goddammit," he growled through his clenched teeth. "I knew it, I just knew it. Taking her on this mission was a mistake. Greener than a spring leaf, she wasn't nowhere near ready. What was the commander thinking?" "Please try to remain calm, Naruto-sama," she said forcefully, fastening his vest. "Anger agitates your chakra." He exhaled slowly, trying to calm himself. "Sorry," he said after a few moments. "Can you take me to her?" Any other medic would have just argued and told him to stay in bed, but she knew him almost better than he knew himself. "Yes. But we must go home immediately after, Naruto-sama. Promise me," she said, her inky orbs drilling into his relentlessly. "All right." He nodded. It was worse than he thought. The girl, bereft of her Anbu armor and mask, looked almost ethereally fragile, her already pale countenance only paler from the lost blood, her violet hair spread out on the pillow only enhancing the image. Her bed was surrounded by standard recovery seals, and Naruto started a cold, dispassionate litany of the foulest curses he could muster. On the girl's head was a Class 3 Gyakusa seal. If they had to use that wretched thing, this was not looking well, by any stretch of the imagination. The girl was annoying, greener than grass, full of that self-important, moronic pride and rash, but she didn't deserve something like that. Nobody should be forced to go through even the first phase of that kind of monstrosity. To actually make it a Class 3, the girl would be lucky if she wasn't stark raving mad when she woke up. If she woke up at all. The chances of that were slim. He, after all, knew best. Better than any idiot medics putting it on her, that was for sure. "Rookie, I swear, if you don't wake up, I'll fucking drag you back to the waking world and I'll kick your ass from here to Snow Country right after," he said with a growl, slipping bonelessly into a nearby chair. "You foolish, stupid rookie," he whispered, feeling old and tired beyond his years. He closed his eyes. Murasaki Rei, Chunin, proud graduate of the Ninja Academy at age 10, Chunin by 12 and Anbu before she hit sweet 16, was officially confused. She didn't know what to expect after being assigned to an operations team, but it certainly wasn't a pitying look from the few Anbu she asked for directions in the maze-like corridors of the Anbu offices. She didn't even know Anbu had offices until today. The Anbu were helpful, if professionally detached as she approached them, but immediately after showing them her assignment card, the looks of pity started. She actually caught one of the kunoichi whispering "poor girl" to her colleague after she asked them for directions. Poor girl, my ass. She thought with a snort. Some poor girl would never make it to Anbu a day after her 16th birthday. Although, what was so alarming about this team for she had been assigned to that provoked the looks? Were they some kind of psychos? Bloodthirsty monsters killing left and right with glee? Cold killing machines without a shred of humanity left? Casual killers without any semblance of higher feelings? It was possible. After all, this was Anbu, and it was a well-known fact that some ninja were somewhat not right in the head after a few years spent in the ranks, thanks to the stress and grueling conditions, even for shinobi life. Even more so, as rumor went, in the operations division, where the nin could spend months in hostile territory, returning to Konoha for short R&R and going back to the field right after. Finally reaching the designated door, she steeled herself mentally before knocking. Come in. Obediently, she opened the door and entered. The room was surprisingly large. Almost as large as the Hokage's office, though far less cluttered. Also, despite the big oaken desk in the middle and rows of file cabinets, it felt oddly empty. Or, at least it felt that way, until you looked into the eyes of the woman behind the desk. Yusani Kano was a short and petite woman with dainty features that made her seem like a young teenager rather than the 35-year-old woman she was. Her oversized, wide-sleeved robes and big desk she was sitting behind certainly didn't help matters, making her look like a small child that played dress-up. One look in her eyes, just one look in those twin pools of frost, and suddenly Kana seemed to dwarf not only her desk and cabinets, but the entire room as well. Murasaki Rei reporting for her assignment, Commander. The girl saluted smartly, as she was taught, and tried not to lose her composure as the two pools of azure menace that seemed to stare right through her mask and straight into her soul, measuring her, weighing her in every possible way. Though it took only a second or two, Rei could feel herself sweating at the commander's gaze. Well, at least you're punctual, muttered the woman. You can stop standing like a pillar of salt and sit down, girl. She gestured to one of the chairs before her desk. Relaxing slightly, Rei took the nearest chair, sitting down on the edge of the seat, ready to leap back to attention at a moment's notice, which drew a snort from Kana. Relax, child. I don't bite. She smiled slightly. Unless you'd like me to, she said with an amused glint in her eye. Rei froze before discreetly backing deeper into her seat. Kana shook her head with a chuckle, opening her mouth before the doors slammed open, making Rei almost leap out from her seat in surprise. Playing with Iko rookies' heads, Commander? Came the wry female voice from behind Rei, and she turned to find a feral-looking woman with two claw-like stripes on her face, Anbu uniform worn in proper manner but still managing to look somewhat wild on her. She was accompanied by 3 gray dogs. 3 large gray dogs. Well, I had to pass my time somehow, said the childlike woman sweetly before her face turned into a homicidal grimace, waiting for a certain team captain who is over 20 fucking minutes late. She growled, looming over her desk and radiating killing intent that made Rei want to crawl under her chair or suffocate on the spot. The feral woman blanched slightly, drawing back, and her dogs suddenly looking like a set of small and fluffy puppies as they hugged the ground. Kana glared at the women before snorting. Oh, stop cowering, for Kami's sake, she muttered, the killer intent vanishing as if it was never there. Little bit of intimidation and you fall to pieces. And you call yourself Anbu? She sighed, rubbing her temples. That's the problem with youth today, no endurance at all, she grumbled. Rei stared at the commander dumbly. Little bit of intimidation? Yes, it was. Rei stared at her childlike commander in wonder. She was sure she didn't say that out loud. Was she reading her mind? No, I didn't. Rei boggled. Commander? Said the Anbu captain. Might you stop weirding out the rookie, please? Not my fault you brats are so easy to read, the woman grumbled. That they even let you out of the academy without the most basic skill in containing your own emotions is a disgrace to Konoha. Cat on this, right in that. The bigger and louder the better, and to hell with stealth. Who needs it? Let's just blow things up in louder, more obvious ways. Shinobi, my bony ass! She sneered, falling into a well-rehearsed rant that was cut short by a loud cough. Commander? As much as I love, the feral woman rolled her eyes, your most fascinating opinion on the current state of shinobi education, evaluation of our skills and pointing out the faults of the world in general. Might we get to the brass tacks here? Kanna looked at the captain flatly. I hate you, she grumbled. And I had the whole speech going so nicely, too. Rei followed her new captain while trying to shake off the slight shock. To say that the Anbu commander was not what she expected would be an understatement of the month. She expected a cold, efficient ninja, professional to the core, excluding a commanding presence on Nirkage levels. Instead she got petite, childish-looking woman who ran hot and cold at the same time, was as likely as to crack a joke as she was to radiate a killer aura that left you a quivering bundle of nerves. Kinda hard to wrap your mind around, right? The captain looked at her with a grin. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. She just likes to mess with people's heads to keep them on their toes. But believe me, you won't find a better commander anywhere. She might seem little weird, but once she's all business, get the hell out of her way. She's like Flood. Impossible to stand against or argue with. Yes, sir. The feral woman rolled her eyes before stopping. Look, rookie. You don't need to call me sir. I work for a living, she said. My name's Hana, Inuzuka Hana. Captain or Inutaishu when we are on a mission or on duty, Hana or that gorgeous babe the rest of the time. She grinned. Rei. Hana blinked. Murasaka Rei. That's my name, she said. Not Rookie. Rookie, Hana sighed, I don't fucking care what your name is. You could be named Sarutobi, Uchiha, or even be Fire Lord's freaking love child and I wouldn't care, either. Until you get some experience, and stop being baggage and become useful, you'll be called Rookie and like it. She gazed at Rei for a few seconds. You're what, Chunin, right? She nodded. Greener than grass, then? The woman shook her head with disgust. No matter. You made it to ANBU. Rejoice. You've been assigned to ANBU Operations Division Team 4. Yay. Bet you're all proud of yourself, huh? Funky mask, cool-looking armor, badass sword in hand, ready and willing to tackle S-class missions, Ready for all the accolades, the honor, glory and big bucks that you are due, being part of Konoha's elite? Well, you can stop now. Rei froze as Hana's warm gaze suddenly chilled, becoming hard and unforgiving. Reality check, rookie. All that honor and glory stuff they preach about in the academy doesn't have a grain of truth in it. And the big bucks you get could as well be coated with sweat, tears and blood. Mostly yours. This is a job that leaves marks on the body and stains on the soul a mile wide. So, if you're after that honor and glory, get out. Get out now, Hana said forcefully. I know what I'm doing, Inuzuka Taishu, Rei said stiffly. I'm not somewhat behind the ears genin, there is no need to try to scare me. Scare you? Girl, I don't think you understand what I'm trying to tell you at all, Hana said calmly. Besides, I don't need to scare you. Your first mission will take care of that. If you survive it, that is. Oh, I think I'll manage, said the young ANBU wannabe frostly, glaring at her captain. The whole condescending manner that the woman, 2 or 3 years older than herself, was displaying was seriously getting on her nerves. Cocky little thing, aren't you? Hana raised an eyebrow coolly. Piece of advice, rookie. Faith in your ability is a very good thing to have, but don't be too cocky to ask for help. Genin, Chunin, Jounin, that doesn't matter here. This is ANBU. Different rules, different mindset, different world, and you've barely touched the surface. Until you learn how to swim on your own, you'll need somebody to show you how to swim, or you'll sink. Suddenly, the air was thick with killer intent that froze Rei in place. So loose the attitude, keep your eyes peeled and learn. Because if you fuck up, the cost won't be just your life or a hell of a mess for Konoha, but also life of your teammates. And I'll kill you with my bare hands before I let that happen, understood? Yes, Inuzuka Taishu, Rei said meekly, still cowed by the savage killer intent. Cool. Hana grinned cheerfully and the pressure vanished without a trace. Let's go and meet your new teammates then. Is everybody in Operations Division bipolar psychopaths or something? Rei thought, following the cheerfully whistling Inuzuka. Carefully, she pressed the knob and slid the door open without a sound. Open? So why? She opened the door fully and was about to enter before freezing in place as an unbelievably fast kunai flew right in front of her face. What the hell, she thought as yet another kunai flew by, this time lower. You, came a voice from inside the room. She looked inside, careful not to step into the room, and blinked. In the corner of the room was a man in full ANBE uniform, sans the armor, sprawled on a chair, his legs on the desk, a thick, partially unrolled scroll in his hand. He was rather short, she noticed, with an unruly mess of golden blonde hair, and one of the stranger masks she had seen in her life. It wasn't the hard mask, typical for Anbu, but cloth that covered his entire face from the brow down, although it was somewhat loose at the bottom. It was olive in color, with 2 black triangles, stretched at the upper and lower edges, in the place where his eyes should be. Instead of eye holes, there was dim gray shape in the middle of triangles, some kind of glass or something similar she guessed, but one that didn't reflect light at all. In all her ninja career, she had never seen anything even remotely like it. On his left was a kunoichi in full Anbu attire, like the man without the armor, neatly pressed as if straight from a tailor. Only way she could describe her was fierce. She radiated an odd type of readiness, despite sitting calmly, as if she was ready to fight for her life at moment's notice without a pause. Her midnight black hair would cut rather oddly, falling into her eyes, covering them from view completely, and there was a single white strand in the inky darkness that started somewhere on the top of her head and went all the way to her face. How can she even see anything with that haircut? Her face was angular and rather pretty, deeply tanned to a golden bronze hue, as were the other visible parts of her body. She had a tea service, full with the mat and the beautiful bowls and kettle around her, a steaming cup in her hands that she sipped gently from. Yeah, you. The man's voice was oddly high-pitched, and, she noticed immediately, rather annoyed. Close the damn door, it's hard enough to read this crap without it fluttering in the draft like some demented hummingbird. She raised her hand, only to retract it as yet another kunai flew by. She carefully looked at the direction it came from and froze. Near the wall of the room there was a tall man, his dirty blonde hair unruly, Anbu operations uniform disheveled, as if he slept in it for a few days straight, and, she noted with distaste, outer mesh nearly open and sleeves rolled up in messy fashion that was blatantly against any dress code regulations. Oddly contrasting with his messy appearance were glasses neatly positioned over his angular, if average, face covered in 2-day stubble. Both of his palms held a kunai, or rather a whole fistful of them, she realized as the man moved his thumbs, fanning out the blades in his palms as if he held a deck of cards. A few meters in front of the man was a pale woman in. Ray could feel her eyes widening. It was a picture-perfect Anbu uniform in shape and cut, sans the battle armor, but it differed in one glaring way. Is that fishnet? Ray thought, stumped. And that almost see-through material silk? And leather? And is that tattoo? My God, she is practically naked. She wasn't far from the truth, actually. The young woman, and oh, the uniform didn't leave any doubt at all that this was a woman. Very much of a woman, really, was covered in a double layer of see-through fishnet that covered her legs, arms, and most of the midriff, leaving it bare enough to see a long, serpentine tattoo of twin dragons coiling sinuously from her abdomen to the rather impressive cleavage, along with some strategic, intimate places covered in very thin straps of leather and silk arranged in a manner not unlike a swimsuit. Skimpy one at that. And fishnet. Lots of fishnet. Although dragons rising from her abdomen would be rather misleading, since judging by the shape, the tails must have started. Ray blushed in embarrassment and outrage. What she wanted to think slut, but there was something about the woman, despite the outrageously slutty get-up, that radiated control, poise, and an odd sense of grace. She was hot and cold, all at the same time without clashing, was the best way she could describe her. And there was power there. The same thing she felt the first time she laid her eyes on her jounin sensei. A confidence unmarred by empty arrogance, air of a veteran killer. A dangerous, capable nin that stated in no uncertain terms that anybody moronic enough to mess with the kunoichi did this at their own risk. Well, that air might be accented by the fact that the woman was just deflecting the kunai thrown by the disheveled man so fast they looked like a stream of metal. With her bare hands. With her eyes blindfolded. And Ray realized with a sinking feeling, with enough precision to embed them into several targets positioned on the nearby wall. No, that woman was no simple slut. And the man was no pushover either, judging by the casual, lazy ease he displayed throwing a few kunai with enough precision to alter the trajectory of some of the deflected blades into second row of targets on the ceiling. Mid-flight. Only 7? Sloppy, Kyo-chan. The blindfolded woman chuckled throatily. A girl might think she is being neglected. Or maybe you can't handle more, The man, Kyo, snorted with a smile. Princess, between us two, it's you who can't handle what I have. He leered, waggling his eyebrows comically. Somehow, I don't remember you complaining about my handling last night. She shot back with a smirk. I didn't want to hurt your royal pride, your highness. The man waved his kunai, as if holding a fan. Well, you certainly didn't hesitate in making me hurt in other ways. This time it was the woman who was leering. Not my fault you're so kinky. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. He shrugged. Well, you'd better. The woman sniffed in indignation. Although that was fun. Never knew there were so many ways to use a kunai. She appeared to be deep in thought for a second. Tad tiresome, though. See, and I wasn't even going full out. The man pointed out, with an oddly sage-like expression. Oh really? The woman drawled with a rather sinister chuckle, but the tone was like honeyed velvet, one that made Ray blush up to her hair just hearing it. You should show me the full out then. I'll be looking forward to it. Girl, you can't handle full out. The man sneered in patronizing manner. Oh really? Even through the blindfold, the raised eyebrow was clearly visible. Really? Wanna bet? She asked slyly, taking the blindfold off. What do I get if I win? Asked curious man. Well, you know, the woman came up to the man and began whispering, and the man perked up almost instantly. You're on, princess! He shouted with glee. H, stammered Ray, pointing shaking finger at the woman's unveiled milky white orbs. Oh great. The Wonder Duo strikes again, muttered the masked man, slapping his face. Can't you get a hold of yourself once in a while, you perverts? Oh, we plan to. Get a hold of ourselves, I mean. The woman smirked. That we do, agreed the man, rubbing his hands with obvious glee. H, stammered Ray again before stopping and clearing her throat with a squeak. Hyuga! She finally managed and deflated. The eyes left no doubt to the woman's identity, but when she tried to reconcile the regal, some might say anal retentive, dour, humorless and proper to the point of obsession Hyuga with unabashedly perverted, sex-oozing, brash woman, and she used the term loosely, was a little too much. No Hyuga here, little girl. The woman scowled, her eyes going cold, and suddenly Ray could feel a downright suffocating amount of killer intent directed at her. But she started. Are you deaf? The woman said coldly. No. Hyuga. Here. No Hyuga here, right? The girl said meekly, doing her best to mold herself into the door. Good. Suddenly the not Hyuga with Hyuga eyes was all smiles and turned to the kunai-throwing man, embracing him in rather familiar fashion. Now, where were we? Scaring rookies now, Yashiro? You taking after the boss, or something? Came Hana's wry voice from behind. Bad form, princess. This Team 4 was full of surprises, all the oddness besides. Ray didn't know about the short blonde and the girl with the tea set, but judging by the Inuzuka and the Hyuga, there were some heavy hitters here. And the man Kyo, she reminded herself to throw kunai with such precision and speed that took serious skill. And you two slackers, she looked at the blonde and the woman next to him. Kyo, I can understand, whipped as he is. Hey! The man protested weakly. But not to help your new teammate? Bad form all the way, guys. She shook her head in mock disappointment. Excuse me? Said the blonde, laying the scroll on his desk. Please do repeat that, Taicho, because I think I just misheard, he said slowly. The Inuzuka woman only grinned. Oh, you gotta be shitting me, bitch, said the blonde flatly. We are one man short for, like, forever, and when they deign us worthy, he made quotation marks with his fingers, all they send us is some wet behind the ears rookie? Is that some kind of a fucking joke? Well, you've been bugging the boss for an addition to the squad. Now you have it. The Inuzuka shrugged. Addition, yes. Some goddamn rookie? No, he said exasperated. I was asking Kana-chan for a goddamn genjutsu specialist, or at least a mildly genjutsu-capable operator. Not some rookie chunin, for Kami's sake. Hey! Yelled Ray with indignation. NBU or not, that shrimp was insulting her. Nobody did that. Well, except for Commander and Inuzuka Taishu. Quiet. The word was whispered but had power like a whipped crack. The woman with the tea looked, or at least Ray thought she looked, with all that hair she wasn't sure. You're interrupting my tea time. Sorry, Tenru. The masked man apologized, looking oddly nervous. So did, she realized with astonishment, the captain. And the not Hyuga. And even that Nagi person. Inuzuka Taicho coughed, clearing her throat. All right, rookie, meet the team. On the left is Sagato Kyo, first-class slacker, glutton and perv. The man made a mocking bow, or at least as much bow as the woman holding him would allow. Kyo is our resident long-range weapon and ninjutsu specialist, and also doubles as a seal specialist from time to time. The oversexed slut puppy hanging on him, the said oversexed slut puppy sniffed. You're just jealous because you don't get any. she said haughtily, and Hana's brow twitched slightly before she picked up again. Is named Yashiro, no last name. When she's not being her usual, annoying self, isn't giving the Hyuga clan a collective ulcer or hanging from Kyo, she doubles as our close combat specialist and field medic. The guy in the mask is Mugen. She gestured and the blonde waved lazily. Mugen, aside from being a ninjutsu specialist, also handles some aggressive scouting, loud assassination and counter-genjutsu work. The gal with hair in her eyes is Hijikata Tenru, infiltration, silent assassination and espionage. They'll annoy her and she can turn you into sashimi with her sword. And then there is me. She gestured to herself. Commander of this merry little band of outcasts, nymphos and slackers aside, I'm close and mid-range combat, wilderness and tracking. Okay, so she is a rookie. Mugen said with obvious distaste. Rookie? What now? So glad you asked, Mugen? Hana's smile was wide and positively gleeful. Mugen, aka Uzumaki Naruto, had a sudden sinking feeling. Oh, this won't be good. Yo, Blondie. The forceful, if silent, voice shook him from his slumber. Naruto yawned, opening his eyes. Wazza? He said sleepily. Geez, how can you sleep now? Came the disgusted female voice from the rookie. What kind of ninja are you? Isn't this supposed to be a stakeout? Wolf Mask on the upper branch chuckled hearing that. Yo, bitch, he said tiredly, indicating the rookie. You brought that, right? What for? She's actually competent, Mugen. She chuckled at the outraged sound from the female. Just a rookie. She's slow on the uptake a little bit, but bear with her. Hey, protested Ray. Oh, shut up and go to sleep, you moron, he muttered with disgust. You might not get the chance later, and it's rather hard to make seals while falling asleep on your feet. Don't act so high and mighty with me, shrimp, she snarled, her voice edgy. Your mask is still featureless, which means you're not much longer an Anbu than me. Oh man, Wolf said in a low voice to Wolverine. Now she's done it. Although he couldn't see Cat under the mask, Naruto knew she had an amused look on her face. He could feel his eyebrow twitch. Was he getting that predictable? If you had more than 2 brain cells to rub together, you would notice that one of the veteran Anbu that accompany us has those funny, pearly white eyes. He started, explaining slowly, as if to a child. And what are those funny, pearly eyes famous for? That's right. He mock-cheered at the realization hitting her that was clearly visible in her body language. Girl was way too open. Byakugan, the all-seeing, all-famous Konoha blood limit. Which means that regardless of if we watch or not, our friend here, Naruto motioned to the cat-faced mask, will notice it faster than any of us. So why waste time, if you can recover and gather strength you might need later? And on the final note, he said pointedly, touching the forehead symbol of his otherwise featureless and clean mask. This little swirl here marks me as a veteran, rookie. Learn the difference. Mine and I so waited for the moronic rookie tongue lashing. Whined the bitch sulkily, giving a small pack of coins to Cat. You just cost me my new set of shuriken, man. He stared incredulously. They were making bets? Oh, grow up, bitch, he said tiredly, closing eyes again. It is way too early for that shit. Bitch took off her mask, revealing the young and quite attractive face of Inuzuka Hana. So, how's it? Asked Kyo, taking off his Wolverine mask and clearing off the sweat that had, as always, gathered at the edges. The boss has the reports, which means that we are almost home free. Hana stretched luxuriously, moaning loudly as her neck popped loudly. Would you please stop doing that? It's disgusting. Her cat mask already off, the frown was clearly visible on Yashiro's face. Don't get your panties in a bunch, glass-eye girl. Hana rolled her eyes over the old argument. Excuse me? Yashiro's voice gone deceptively calm over the hated nickname. Shikaku is right. Women, so troublesome. Naruto muttered before whistling shrilly, stopping the escalating argument in its tracks. Now that I have your attention, what do you mean almost home free? He asked. 2 words evaluation report. Hana said disgustedly. There was a collective moan with hefty dose of cursing from their usually well-mannered sword nut. Tenru hated paperwork with passion fit for better cause. Now? Kyo asked incredulously. It's freaking 3 in the morning. Yeah, what gives? Naruto said curiously. We haven't even made our kuda yet, there's hardly anything to evaluate, for Kami's sake. True. Most curious. Yashiro frowned. You'll get creases. He smirked at the ex-Hyuga. Well, at least I'll look more mature. she said serenely, staring from her superior height. He muffled a curse and Kyo laughed out uproariously. I'll get you yet, princess? Naruto muttered with a glare at which she smiled, ruffling his hair affectionately. You will try. Yeah, Yushiro was cool for the fact of possessing a sense of humor, something that most Hyuga wouldn't know if it bit them in their constipated asses. Even if her jokes came at Naruto's expense. Of course, the sophisticated punk with lots of skimpy, see-through fishnet look was also a factor. He gave up, rolling his eyes and taking off his hard mask, revealing the cloth mask hanging from the wraparound on his forehead. Lots of people made alterations to their Anbu masks, making them more comfortable, but for him a full undermesh was needed since the mask was simply too big for a 10-year-old. Instead of going through the trouble of stripping old mesh each time he grew a little, he got another mask, a cloth one made from strong, elastic material that went under it. He also shelled out some buck to turn it into a reasonable filter for some poisons, which saved him and the team on one of the missions 2 years before. He quickly learned to like the mask. It was elastic, and so light he sometimes forgot he had it on. It could be lengthened or shortened, uncovering the mouth but leaving upper face covered if he needed to eat, and most importantly it gave anonymity. He sighed, feeling the cloth of the mask cooling his face. Damn, but those Anbu masks could get hot. Yo, Mugen. He turned to the bitch, as they affectionately called their captain. Was it? He asked, lazily reaching for his first cigarette in days. After we do the evaluation and catch some Z's, you up for a little drinking? She grinned. Naruto cocked his head, lighting the cigarette with a small, one-seal Katon. Home or bar? He asked finally. Che, as if I would want noise and crowd after a mission. She snorted. Home. BYOB? Nah, Kyo still owes me, the slacker. Kyo hung his head. And he owes you that bet from a month ago. I thought we'd make him pay it collectively. Hey, protested the man in question. That's cheating, bitch. It's not like I am rich here. Oh? Yushiro raised her eyebrow in very proper, high-bred fashion accompanied by identical gesture from Tenru. Naruto often wondered if the eyebrow trick was bred into all blue bloods. Though Kyo didn't exhibit it. But then he was a black sheep. Kyo cursed. So okay, I am, he said sulkily. But even my wallet is not without limits. Yeah, right, as if anybody actually believes that. Hana rolled her eyes. I can't win, can I? He sighed. Okay, sake's on me. Knew I could count on you, blue blood boy. Hana smirked. Now, a little proposition for you, Mugen. Since I know you utterly hate to fill out the evaluation reports, I'll fill out yours. I'm all ears, Naruto said eagerly. If you debrief the rookie. She finished. That's all? He asked sarcastically. Maybe you want pound of my flesh as well, and maybe a leg? Filling out the rookie's paperwork is just as bad as doing the evaluation report for the team. And giving the debriefing is real pain in the ass too. We'll see about that pound of flesh sometime soon. Hana smirked, and the blonde blanched at her lecherous grin. Oh man. And here I thought she had forgotten my lewd comments from a month ago. He thought, a sinking feeling deep in his stomach. Mine are here. He raised a hand. PFFTT. Kyo snorted. Yeah, right. Any citizen reaching the rank of genin is be treated as an adult in all legal aspects, including marriage and personal relations. Konoha Civil Codex, page 31. So technically you ain't no minor, and you know it. Sometimes, Kyo's upper-class upbringing and diplomatic training as child showed itself in those small actions like knowing each law Konoha had by heart. Traitor! Naruto muttered. On whose side are you on, bastard? Hey, survival instinct, man. He gave Naruto a lopsided grin. With the male-to-female ratio in our merry little squad, well, you know how it is. I'll get you for that, Kyo. He threatened with a scowl. Yeah? He waved. Go and debrief the greenhorn. Could you please not talk to me as I wasn't here? Came a timid voice. Hana and Kyo blinked before spotting said rookie standing at the edge of the little team gathering. You were still here? They exclaimed in well-practiced unison. Break the rookie, Anbu Team 4 style no jutsu *, dismissive disbelief. Yeesh. And Hana wonders why people are so goddamn leery of our squad, thought Naruto, rolling his eyes. It wasn't hazing per se, but very close. It was something practiced by all Anbu field teams that stayed together on a permanent basis. Anbu Ops was a little bit different than the usual squads. They stayed together permanently, and unless somebody died, the squad never accepted substitutes. The cooperation in Anbu ops teams went beyond simple teamwork. It nearly bordered on kinship. Long-term missions, permanent teammates, high risk, lack of any support from anyone else, save your teammates for months on end. It created bonds that made familiarity shared by genin teams pale in comparison. On the day Sandaime allowed Naruto to enter NBU, there was a condition *, he would enter an ops team instead of assassination squad. His last stab at the whole friendship and will of fire thing, Naruto supposed. That and shielding him from excessive violence of AS squad. Not to say he didn't get his share of violence as ops, but operators usually killed and maimed ninja or hired thugs, not the civilians like an assassination specialist often was forced to. I didn't notice her. Did you? Hana blinked. Can't say that I had, nope. Kyo responded thoughtfully. Yashiro? She must have escaped my Byakugan. Quite a feat, she said, her voice drier than sand country in summer. Tenru? Her skill is great. I must commend her. The tone was as almost choke-full with sarcasm, even more so than Tenru's usual little comments. Mugen? Truly, epitome of a ninja. She hid well. Naruto nodded solemnly. With each sentence, the had-been boisterous rookie NBU made herself smaller and smaller. There was no trace of the pre-mission bravado and self-confidence. Well, almost getting killed gruesomely by your own bravado and getting abused verbally ever since the mission ended might account for that, thought Naruto with a scowl. Hana opened her mouth, probably to start another round of smack the rookie, but he cut her before she had a chance. Okay, fun's over. Let her live and cease the trauma on the poor greenhorn, she'll get enough from me as it is. Get lost. Write the report and I'll debrief her. He took a drag, taking in the herbal concoction deeply into his lungs, allowing it easy access to his messed up chakra, calming the increasingly erratic flow. Drinking time like usual? Yeah. Hana nodded before waving. Take care. You too, bitch, you too. The blonde smiled, watching her go before turning sour as he turned to the rookie. Since the lower part of his mask was rolled up, she could see his scowl. Now, rookie, let's find ourselves a nice, secluded spot, because in the name of ANBU Operations Team 4, I'm going to give you an official debriefing. Feeling fucking scared is permitted. Shows that you have more than 2 brain cells, he said cordially. Naruto used to feel weird giving verbal trashings to older neens, especially women. That is, until his former captain showed him that a good tongue lashing can save the life of your comrade, even if it made him, or her, hate you on private footing for some time. He had been given 1 or 2 similar debriefings when he joined ANBU, which were nothing more than caustic, harsh and merciless list of mistakes and weaknesses made just after the missions, when the pain was still fresh and the adrenaline was running out, heading straight for physical and mental crashdown. Not an easy thing to swallow, by any stretch of the imagination. It was actually one of the tests for ANBU candidates *, if they could take the criticism and do something about it, they passed. If they threw a hissy fit or worse ignored it, they got permanently kicked from ANBU. Excessive pride and overestimation of abilities was not something ANBU could afford. It got ninja killed and, even worse, it made ninja fail. In ANBU, due to the sensitive nature of the missions, failure was not an option. Still, for all of its good points, making the girl, still traumatized by a near-death experience via acid, collapse in tears as he ripped her to pieces verbally was not something terribly pleasant. The girl was a prodigy *, from a prestigious clan, earned genin early, breezed through Chunin exams and got assigned to ANBU at the top of the list, despite being only a Chunin. In a word, remarkable specimen. She got through academy with top grades, got named genius and, according to her overly proud teachers, had a bright, glorious future. She probably did, but it wasn't in ANBU. Since they were used to lower stress levels and weren't used to failure, ANBU broke most geniuses. Something that the Chunin teachers at the academy, never serving in ANBU themselves, didn't, and wouldn't, know. By all rights, he should have left then and there, but the utterly pathetic, nearly teary image the girl was presenting made him sympathetic. Listen, I know you are taking this hard, but a piece of advice *, you either weather it and learn, or you might as well say goodbye to ANBU, he said bluntly. Stress, blood, sweat, tears, and mission parameters changing so fast that instinct and improvisation are the only things keeping you sane, and in one piece *, that's what each and every ANBU mission is in the nutshell. It is not the glamorous, honorable, if demanding, job that it seems like or is painted on by academy teachers. ANBU, especially ops units like ours, is hell on wheels. It is harsh, brutal, and a bloody job that will leave you with a good deal of scars, not even half of them physical. It will make you develop a hefty dose of paranoia and several psychoses that will either help you cope or kill you *, either literally, or it will make you off yourself. If you don't believe me, talk with the vets, go for files you have clearance for, talk with the dropouts, but above all, do some good, hard thinking if you want to be an ANBU or if you want to return to being a regular chunin. She looked at him, eyes glazed over and her face spouting an utterly lost look that after 3 years in ANBU he learned to recognize as shell shock. Most rookie ANBU wannabes got it when they finished their first ANBU mission. Very few ninja experienced the distilled dose of fear, uncertainty, and danger that ANBU missions brought until they entered the ranks. More experienced ones just needed to deal with the higher stress, but those less fortunate got the ugliness of the world shoved in their face with the brutal honesty of the edged kunai. There was a reason why some missions were not available to your everyday ninja despite being marked only B or A class. He sighed tiredly, rubbing his forehead. That is all. Dismissed. He watched her go away, face pensive but thoughtful, before using shunshin and going home in a swirl of leaves. Naruto-sama? The gentle touch shook him out of his thoughts. We should be going, Naruto-sama. Sorry. Naruto sighed, getting up. Just thinking. He stretched a little, turning for the door. The blonde rummaged through his pockets for a while. Where is that damned Here it is. He pulled out a small, fatigued box, opening the lid. Ah damn! Out. Again. The young ANBU spat. I knew I should have. He blinked as he saw a small rectangular box, a near duplicate of the one he held, appear in front of his face, held there by a pale, delicate hand. Slowly he grabbed it, opening it to see a line of neatly rolled herbal cigarettes. Haku, have I told you that I love you? He said seriously, turning to the pale beauty by his side. Not recently, Naruto-sama. The young ANBU medic smiled. Well, I do. He rolled his mask partially up, uncovering the mouth and lit a cigarette, taking a long drag. Ah, that's the stuff. Fresh too. Thanks. Sorry for the trouble. It is no trouble at all, Naruto-sama, she assured him. Shall we? We might as well. They barely stepped out of the room before a ninja in full ANBU attire appeared in front of them. Lieutenant, the ANBU nodded. Your presence is REQ. Mugen-sama is on medical leave, ANBU-san. Haku said, her voice chilly. His presence will not be required anywhere for the next week at the least. Forgive me, Haku-san, but the orders. Your orders don't interest me in the slightest, ANBU-san. The young woman looked at the ninja, her eyes even more chilling than her voice. As the official chief of Team 4's medical support, my authority allows me to make such decisions. No member of Team 4 is fit for duty until they recover. Moreover, the Class 3 injuries demand minimum of week of total recovery, which is mandated by the ANBU charter. Do I make myself clear? Forgive me, but my orders come from the commander herself. The ANBU bowed apologetically. Naruto almost chuckled as he felt the man stiffening when Haku's killer intent filled the room. Easy there, gorgeous, he said soothingly, patting her arm. Kanda-chan won't be assigning me duties. Not after the old man himself stamped my leave. She probably wants the report. Still, the pale medic said, clearly irritated. Mugen-sama. Don't worry. I'll be home soon. She nodded after a moment. As you wish. She bowed. I shall await you home then. She walked away. The ANBU shook his head slightly. Damn, you wouldn't think it looking at her, but that's one intense lady. He turned to the blonde. Nice, friendly and polite, then bang. Colder than snow country and fiercer than a katon jutsu. Geez, LT, where the hell did you find her? Naruto sighed after taking a long drag. You don't want to know, Tano. Believe me, you don't want to know. He muttered. Let on. Just no shunshin. I'm too fucking sore, alright? The ANBU nodded. They both walked out of the complex. Is being 20 minutes late becoming a fucking fashion in your team, brat? Kanda groused as Naruto closed the door. Please, not today? Naruto begged. I'm really sore, my chakra is fluctuating like crazy and I'll be going through Kyushin in the evening. Kanda's face softened. So it's that day? She said with a sigh. Well, it's been well over a month. With recent regeneration I should have seen this coming. She smirked. At least you'll have that cute little nurse taking care of you. How she puts up with your rude ass I'll never understand. The boyish charm? He said innocently. Ha! She snorted. Boyish charm. Bullshit. If you ever had any, you lost it years ago. She frowned. Pull down that stupid mask, would you? She glared as he opened his mouth. Doors are closed by the seal. And besides, do you really think most ops doesn't at least suspect? Are they treating you any different? Well, no, but. Idiot. Pull down that mask. He complied, revealing a boyish face with 6 whisker marks. Kanna looked at him for a while. You're not getting enough sleep, she said critically as she walked up. And tried to relax that frown. You don't look cute at all with that face scrunched up. Naruto rolled his eyes. And don't roll your eyes at me, brat. Yeah, he muttered, taking out another cigarette and lighting it. Kanna glared. Naruto glared back. What? He said finally, taking a long drag. I've just recovered. And I'm going through Kyushin after supper. I need my chakra as calm as it can be. Brat, she said petulantly. You know you love me. He smirked. Tano said you wanted something from me? Yeah. She threw him a small folder. Read. Frowning, Naruto opened the thin folder, and his eyes widened as he went through the first page. That is. He looked at his commander. Read, she said calmly. He kept on reading, this time slowly, with more attention. He went through 3 fresh cigarettes reading the material before he looked at Kanna again. Damn, he said, shaking his head slowly. This I never thought you took it seriously. I mean, you argued. The idea is sound, she said simply. It just needed fleshing out. That's why I assigned Rei to you. So she wasn't the replacement. Naruto's eyes lit up. That's why you gave us a rookie. To mold and shape her, yes. Kanna nodded. And now she's in a coma. Shit. Naruto scowled. Of all the luck. Don't worry. It isn't your fault. The commander leaned in her chair. If anything, your mission against that lion maniac only confirmed Masato's suggestion. I've been talking with Sarutobi and he agreed to give the idea a try. Yes. Under 3 conditions. Name them. Naruto said immediately. Cross-training is 1. Sarutobi wants every member capable of upper C-class counter-genjutsu work and lower C-class medical training, including the poison one. That's not a bad idea, actually. Naruto admitted thoughtfully. C-class is a little steep but manageable. Another factor is the medic. He wants one who has at least upper Chunin level combat skills. Preferable borderline Tokubetsu Jounin. No exceptions. Naruto winced. Well, that might be a bigger problem, still reasonable. Haku would probably agree, though there are other medics capable of that as well. And the third one? He asked. Well, that you will discuss with Hokage himself. Kanna shrugged. He is expecting you 2 days from now at 10 in the morning. She glared at him. Do me a favor and try not to be late. What do I look like, that shithead Kakashi? Naruto grimaced. Kanna sighed. Geez, Naruto, can't you finally let go of that old grudge? It'll be what, 3 years this summer? I'll let go when that bastard rots 6 feet under or resigns as a shinobi, the blonde said simply. Kanna shook her head sadly. That brat 3 years and he hasn't changed a bit. Anything else? Naruto asked. No. You're free to go. She waved at him. And Dio, try not to show your ass around here before the 2-week leave is over, will you? I like your dedication and all, but I have no wish to have Haku barge in here with that Arctic glare of hers, Sure. I'll try. He chuckled. But you know how she gets. I can't guarantee it. Bullshit. Sure you can, she said with a smirk. Just make sure she's too tired to get out of bed. Or walk right, for that matter. The blonde desperately tried not to blush as he scowled. I won't even try to ask where you learned about it, he grumbled. Now, no need to be embarrassed. She chided him. Not many 13-year-olds get so much action from the ladies. You should be proud of yourself, brat. He froze. Wait a minute, he looked at her suspiciously. Did I just hear? Shoo. She waved at him, reaching for her paperwork. Go away and stop bothering me. Commander's orders. The blonde frowned, pulling on his mask again. I hate when she does that, he thought with irritation. Nosy, slave driving, underdeveloped, know-it-all little. I heard that. Naruto froze, hearing the Arctic tones, and he slowly turned to see Kanna glowering at him from her desk. Damn it! I said it out loud? I'm sorry? Go away before I kill you, She advised him pleasantly. Yes, ma'am. The blonde jumped out of the office. Heh. Kanna smirked. Still got it. Humming under her breath, she went back to her paperwork. Home sweet home, Naruto thought, walking up to the compound. It wasn't as big as some of the clan compounds, but he didn't need anything big. He wouldn't have it, either, if not for Misato's family generosity and Inuzuka clan's help. Though it was in the bad part of Konoha, well, not bad, but not many would like the close proximity to the regions ruined by Kyuubi's rampage. Not that it bothered him. Masato Taishu created the building as the future home for his family. Now it was his. After the Inuzuka clan sold him some of the forest, it was actually big enough to rate the compound moniker. And considering that he, Haku, and the rest of the team spent a lot of time here, some tinkering and growth over the last 3 years were inevitable. And Haku's garden was a thing of beauty. Well, at least it looks like a home now instead of just a large training ground with a building. I'm home, he called out, closing the door and slipping off the mask. Haku, as always, was waiting for him. One day, I'll find out just how she knows when I'm near. I will, even if it kills me. Welcome home, Naruto-sama, she said with a smile. The dinner is ready. Thanks. I'm starving. He grinned. Any ramen? He asked hopefully. Naruto-sama, she said sternly. You are still recovering. Yes, he sighed, before cheering up. Well, anything you make is great, Haku-chan. Haku blushed lightly. You are still not getting any ramen, Naruto-sama, she said. Rats? He thought darkly. Well, if that doesn't work. Puppy dog eyes won't work on me as well, Naruto-sama, she said flatly. Not when your health is more important. Curses. Yo! Eat up. It's getting cold and Haku made some great stuff, Hana said cheerfully, scooping a large piece of meat onto her plate. Yo, bitch. Naruto sat next to her, looking at her bandaged arm. I thought you had broken it. She shrugged. I bullied the medics to do the works in the seals and asked Haku for help. Thanks, by the way. The pale woman nodded with a small smile. So now it is just strained. Seal healing dam. Naruto winced. Not every wound could be healed with chakra alone. Broken bones could be healed by seals accompanied by medical chakra treatment, and some drugs, but they hurt like hell. The limb could move, but the pain was crippling and the movements were very stiff. He looked at Hana's left arm and true to form, she wasn't using it to eat. She reached with it for the food, but not to hold her plate. She was also using her right hand to reach for her tea. The arm was twitching, from time to time, and Hana winced slightly each time. The Inuzuka heiress' resistance to pain was incredible. If she was wincing, it must be quite painful. Why seals? He raised an eyebrow. We're on leave. You could have waited. With chakra treatments it would be perfectly okay within a week. Sooner, knowing the way you heal. Well, you know me. I hate the castes. She shrugged, before grabbing another helping of meat. Besides, going through the Kyushin with you with a broken arm, no thank you. Naruto froze. Not a fucking word, Hana said calmly, chewing the meat. But... didn't I just tell you to shut the fuck up? She glared at him. Naruto closed his mouth, looking at Haku helplessly. It isn't like it is the first time, Naruto-sama, she said gently, eating with calm dignity. Naruto winced. Listen, you fucking idiot. Hana sighed, putting down her tea. If I didn't want to, I wouldn't. I want to. Should I spell it out for you? Naruto looked at her for a moment. Besides, we might not have a choice anyway, she muttered. The blonde looked at her in alarm. I'll tell you later. After. But if. After, she said forcefully. I need to make sure first. Do as you like, he said finally with a scowl. Not like I can stop you anyway. See, Haku? Hana grinned. He is a fast learner. He learned the most important lesson a man can learn about women, and he is a teenager. Indeed. The pale beauty smiled serenely. Isn't Naruto-sama great? Naruto glared at the women, one refined and deadly, the other just as deadly but wild. More beef, Naruto-sama? Haku said pleasantly. That's some good sake, Naruto, Hana said lazily, swirling the liquid in her glass. Won it off Kyo. Naruto shrugged. I still don't know where he gets it. Please do not drink much. Haku reminded softly. We still have Kyushin to get through. Heh. Easy. It's just to loosen up a little. Hana snickered as Haku sighed, shaking her head. Very funny. Naruto said dryly. How long have you been thinking about using that line? Since the last time? Hana grinned. Come on, it begs to be. Seriously, I don't get you sometimes. The blonde muttered, sipping his own alcohol. The day you understand women, go and ask Haku for a dress. Hana snorted. Actually, Naruto-sama looks quite good in a dress. Very cute. Haku said calmly, sipping her sake steadily. Hana choked. What? Oiroke no jutsu. Naruto smirked. I make one hot babe, let me tell you. Really? Hana said with wide eyes. Aoba-san certainly seems to think so. Haku nodded. Bastard kept hitting on me the whole festival. Naruto grumbled. You're kidding. Hana said with disbelief, looking at Haku and Naruto. You're not kidding. I felt so much sympathy for Aoba-san. Haku sighed. He was so disappointed when I came by to take my date. She smirked. Hana looked at them, before falling back and laughing her ass off. Yes, I thought so too. Haku nodded her head gracefully, sipping her sake. Naruto just chuckled. Damn, I hate this shit, Naruto muttered, looking at the seals. The room was one of the bigger ones, though not the biggest. It was inlaid with wood, with a complicated seal array on the floor. I know, Naruto-sama. But it is better than constant pain, isn't it? Haku said with sympathy. Or freaking chakra burn. Hana piped in. Doors locked. Ah. Thank you? The pale-skinned woman touched one of the seals on the wall gently and it shimmered, before disappearing. Well, now the room is sealed, she said with satisfaction. Shall we get started? Might as well. Naruto sighed, shrugging off the shirt, leaving only pants on as he laid on the floor in the center of the array. Haku nodded, standing at the edge of the array as her nimble fingers started to go through series of seals, a scroll between them. Halfway through the sequence, she bit one of her fingers, smearing the blood over the scroll, which grew suddenly. Hana watched, fascinated, as the bits of blood started glowing and Haku's hands became a blur. Hanryu Fuin wasn't one of the most chakra-intensive sealing arts, but it demanded skill and incredible precision. To do it so fast. That's Haku for you. Only 15 and already one of the most talented medics in Konoha. No wonder people say she might equal Tsunade one day. The delicate medic finished the sequence, and the scroll grew once more. Haku opened her eyes and outstretched her arms to the sides, and the paper unrolled, following her hands, hovering for a second, before tightening and flowing down to the edge of the array. Haku's eyes grew cold and Hana winced, knowing what was going to happen. It was the third time she had seen this, and each time Hana could see how much it killed the girl inside to do it. Go. The pale medic whispered harshly. The array lit up for a brief moment, and Hana gritted her teeth as she heard Naruto hiss. But that was just a prelude. The seal started to smoke lightly at the edges, before lighting with a sinister, if muted, red light. Haku paled a little, but her fingers moved seals as the two smaller scrolls in the corners of the room unrolled, releasing some water that was almost immediately frozen. Hana knew that Haku could draw moisture from the air, but this was a better way. After all, she'll need the energy later on. The mirrors appeared, surrounding the array. Now Hana thought, grimacing. Damn it. Haku might have been pale, but her hands didn't waver. The one-handed seals flowed like water. The air froze. The mirrors settled on the sides of the array and crashed into dust. Naruto howled. Hana grit her teeth as she watched Haku slowly forging a long spike out of the moisture, solidifying it into a long, slender dagger. Slowly, pushing out Naruto's screams from her mind, Haku walked to the figure. The ice seal held Naruto in place, otherwise he'd be thrashing and clawing at his body, now covered with the smoking patterns of seals. The pale-skinned girl knelt by the blonde, raising the dagger. Hana grabbed her arm. Haku looked at the Inuzuka, biting her lip. Hana nodded slowly. The medic Nin looked at her, returning the nod. Solidifying the rest of moisture into a dagger identical to hers, she gave it to Hana. Both women cut their palms, smearing the blood on the blades. Then, cut after cut, incision after the incision, they started to follow the pattern of the seals on Naruto's body, cutting the gruesome design. One after another. Without a stop, without a pause. There were easier ways. But they took longer and weren't as effective. The cuts were thin at best, and with Naruto's insane healing rate, there would hardly be a mark by morning. But pain was the same. Though burning from the seals as he was, it was probably a relief. With each cut, a seal disappeared, diffusing the toxic sludge that was the leftovers of the imperfect mixing between the bijou and a human. With each cut, the raging violet aura receded a little. By the time they were finished, Hana was sweating. It wasn't a hard job, but it required her to channel some of her own chakra through the blood. And that took some concentration. It was good that her and Naruto's auras matched so well, having that undercurrent of animal-like qualities. Haku sighed, letting her dagger dissipate. Hana noticed that her own had started to evaporate already. Well, now that's that, she muttered. Now for the fun part. Yes. Haku nodded. Naruto's ragged breathing settled, and he was already moving as the seal dimmed, its power drained. He shook his head slowly, sitting up and turned his head to look at them. Hana licked her lips as his eyes widened, before narrowing as he saw them both. Haku already undid the sash on her yukata, letting it slide off her body, leaving her completely naked. Hana smirked, throwing away her shirt and kicking away her pants, following Haku. There was a side effect to the fast procedure. The large amount of purified chakra, the temporary blood link. Hana hissed, feeling her blood boil with desire and arousal. Potent stuff. And better than any aphrodisiac. They wouldn't have been able to resist even if they wanted to. The first time Haku tried out that procedure, Hana was caught in the backlash. They fucked like rabbits for several hours. Who knew that Hana's own bestial aura, mixed with Naruto's, could produce such an effect? But the procedure turned out to be beyond successful. It took only several minutes instead of an hour and lasted for months. And then 12-year-old Naruto stopped being a virgin. So did Haku. Hana never had any other lover from that day on. After she snapped at her mother one day when she accused her of being mopey, she started to suspect. And as she could feel her blood boiling with fierce, primal need, she knew for sure. Inuzuka had bonded with their animal partners for centuries, even before Konoha had been formed. The bond was for life. Though the human could get another partner if the dog died, the scar was left forever. And the dog simply died. From a broken heart. The centuries of symbiosis wrought changes. The dogs started to be far more intelligent, started to, in some cases, speak. Developed some strange powers. Humans became stronger. Fiercer. Their senses were as sharp as animal ones. They healed better, they were tougher and far more ferocious. One of the stranger things that came from the evolved bond was something called imprint link. Inuzuka married. Inuzuka loved. Like any other person. With one exception. Sometimes, when Inuzuka met a right person, their blood sang. Their senses went into overdrive. And the bond was formed. Small, tentative bond. But one for life. One that only got stronger. It was very rare. So rare that Hana ignored the first signs. Sometimes, possessing a fierce aura, Inuzuka reacted to equally fierce people. Naruto was fierce as hell when he cut loose. In retrospection, she knew she was fooling herself. They had the chemistry. Even when he was just a brat, they worked well together. Like a machine. No words, no mistakes. They just knew. Working with Naruto was like working with one of her dogs. Instinctive. Then the brat and his fucked up metabolism hit puberty. And Haku used that diffusion thing. Hana stood guard. Just in case. After all, Haku was good, but experimental treatments sometimes backfired, right? When that chakra was released well, she wasn't linked then. Not like Haku was due to her own blood used as a medium, or as she was now. But her blood sang. Her senses couldn't stop concentrating on Naruto. She had ripped the door apart then. And they spent rest of the night fucking each other senseless. And she knew. Oh, she tried to find reasons why she needed to check. After all, experimental treatment, right? With a bijou involved. Well, she checked all right. The second time, when they were returning from the mission, she almost bit Yashiro's head off when the ex-Hyuga came to her room to wake her up and found Naruto in Hana's bed. Or would have bit her head off, if she could have walked straight. Heh. Hana bared her teeth in an animalistic smirk as she stalked towards Naruto. Even as her blood sang and boiled with primal desire, her senses were screaming this along with another tune. Mine! 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 It was weird that she wasn't ripping Haku to shreds, really. Inuzuka females that bonded in such manner tended to be intolerant towards rivals and instinctively violent. Somehow, in some odd way, Haku didn't register as a rival. Was it some odd side effect of that night, the first time around? She didn't know. But she didn't complain. With that freaky regeneration of his, Naruto had more than enough stamina for them both. And Haku smelled good. Like water in the morning, the breeze from the lake and slight scent of pine trees and ice. Yes. Hana stalked the blonde with a grin, a halfway mad glint in her eyes, teeth bared, growl in her throat. Isn't love beautiful? Pillows. Uh-huh. Haku raised her head from Naruto's chest lazily. We need more pillows, Hana muttered. Naruto's nice and all, but a pillow or two would be good. At least we have a blanket. Haku smiled, pulling the large sheet over them snugger. Yeah, that was some good thinking there. Hana propped her head on Naruto's shoulder. Without you, Naruto probably would live with bare walls, a cot or something, and would eat cup ramen every day. Aren't you tired of taking care of him? You take care of this large home, you cook, you take care of him. You are our personal medic and a Konoha shinobi, aren't you tired? No. She shook her head. Besides, he takes care of me just as much. And that's good. Hana smiled. Somehow, you have to tell me just how a knucklehead like him found a lady like you. I mean, what has he done to deserve someone like you? What? Haku smiled softly, and there was something odd in her eyes that Hana couldn't quite place as she combed the sleeping Anbu's hair. He gave me everything and never asked for anything in return. Could I have done any less? Hana sighed. That's so damn typical of you both, the pair of hopelessly stupid, naive saps. Are you any different? The medic smiled. Heh. Good point. The morning came. Too early. Damn, but I'm sore. Hana yawned, stretching as she walked into the kitchen. Haku just shook her head with a smile. Please sit, I'll have breakfast ready in a minute. Damn your morning perkiness, Hana grumbled, sitting by the large, low table. Seriously, first thing in the morning, and you're all chipper. Aren't you feeling even a little bit worn out? Tired? I wonder. The pale woman giggled. But it's good kind of tired, No arguing here. Hana stretched, moaning as the kinks in her back vanished. Still, it is damn illegal to be so perky in the morning. Honestly. I guess I'm just a morning person, Haku said, putting the bowls on the table. For? Hana raised an eyebrow. Why, there would be. Good morning, came the familiar deadpan from the side. Hana yelped and almost jumped from the table. God fucking damn it, Tenru! She howled. How many fucking times did I tell you not to do that in the morning? 145. Yes. That would be right. Tenru nodded, her eyes covered by her inky mane as always. Geez, Hana rubbed her temples. When did she get here anyway? She asked Haku with irritation. Morning. Yes. Tenru said before nodding. Morning is now, you fruitcake, Hana muttered. I guess it would be just after you came in, Haku said, tapping her cheek. And you didn't so much as thought about saying I'm in? Hana growled at the swordswoman. Tenru just kept staring. Right. Stupid of me. Damn fruitcake. The Inuzuka heiress sighed dejectedly. Why are you here anyway, Hungry. Haku's cooking delicious. The dusky-skinned woman nodded. Ah, thank you. Haku blushed. Tenru comes around every morning. She likes my cooking, I guess. Like. Very. Tenru nodded sagely, her face still expressionless. Geez, you damn freeloader. Every morning? Hana scowled. And you didn't even think of bringing anything all this time? You shouldn't get anything because of that. The swordswoman turned to her captain, her body tense. Haku's food delicious, she said forcefully, her ever-present sword appearing as if by magic in the taciturn woman's hand. I will eat. I'll fight you for it. Now? Hana blinked. Damn, she muttered. I guess you really are serious. Food. Serious thing. Yes. Haku's food most serious thing. Tenru said, nodding. Fight now or later? Hana shrugged. If Haku doesn't mind, I guess it's okay. She muttered. It is so nice to feel appreciated. Haku sighed happily. Yo. Naruto walked in yawning, like Hana clad only in a loose shirt and pants. At least as fit. Hey bitch, you've stolen my clothes. Again. So what? Hana sniffed him. You smell good. You reek. Tenru sniffed. Of her. She pointed at Hana. But you smell of her. She pointed at Haku. That is a good smell. Good night? Oh, you can damn BT it was. Hana smirked. He kept us nearly up to dawn. Tenru looked at Naruto, who just shrugged. Ah. Good. She nodded. Sexual tension bad. Makes you both angry. Yes. Then she calmly gone back to eating, stealing from Hana's plate. Hey! Stick to your own plate, you thieving fruitcake. Hana scowled, growling. The beef is mine. Can't keep it not yours, then? Tenru pointed out, calmly stealing another morsel. Why you? Hana rose. Please. Haku was smiling, but her voice was oddly chilly. No fighting during breakfast if you would be so kind? She said sweetly. Hana and Tenru froze, blanching. Crap. And Tenru, please don't steal. I'll give you a bigger portion, okay? Tenru's lips tightened a little, which meant she was scowling. Not as fun, she declared petulantly. Please? Tenro-san? Haku sing-songed, looming over the swordswoman, who shifted back a little, before nodding slowly. Thank you? Haku beamed. Hana just stared. I've seen this before, but it still amazes me, she said reverently. That girl is my hero. Oh, this is nothing, Naruto said, waving his hand dismissively. You should have seen her when she chewed out that jounin for screwing up last week. Now that was scary. Guy is almost 2 meters tall, built more solidly than Guy, and is as tough as they come. I thought he was going to cry before she was halfway done. Now that must have been interesting. Hana shook her head in amusement as she started eating. Heh. She doesn't know what back down means, does she? I'd like to say that I am determined, Haku said, sitting by the table gracefully. More rice, Naruto-sama? Please. He nodded as she scooped him some. Anybody spoke with Yashiro or Kyo? They will come by. Later. Tenru offered. At Masato Taicho's place. Yeah. Naruto sighed. We haven't been there lately, eh? Well, we've been busy. Hana muttered, chewing. Now we're on leave, so I guess Ryoko won't mind, right? Ryoko never minds. Naruto snorted. And I bet she'll chew us out for not coming earlier, too. Ugh, Hana hung her head. Please don't remind me. And I guess we can go and see Masato Taicho while we're at it. The blonde frowned. Yeah. I guess so. Hana sombered before shaking her head. Hey, what about if we hit the town and drink ourselves stupid after that? We always drink ourselves stupid, Naruto pointed out dryly. Then I guess we have to keep up the tradition, eh? Hana grinned. I'm game. Yes, said Tenru. Sure, why the hell not? Naruto shrugged. And I bet Yashiro and Kyo would be all for it, too. I guess I should come too, then. Haku sighed. To keep Naruto-sama and the rest of you out of too much trouble, if nothing else. Hell yeah! Hana smirked, rubbing her hands. We're gonna drink until we drop, Team 4 style. Haku just rubbed her temples with a sigh. I guess it is 5 hangover remedies to prepare for the morning then. She smiled as she watched the incomplete team's antics by the table. Honestly, those people and Naruto-sama, they are all the same. It was hard to believe that the people roughhousing by the breakfast like children were among the most effective killers in the ANBU ranks. So carefree. She smiled, looking at Naruto's smile. As long as he smiled and was there so she could walk by his side. The world was all right. Drinking, sure. Kyo nodded, rubbing his hands with glee. You're on. And we have that Kanao. Ow. Ow. The true sniper yelped as Yashiro grabbed his ear in a painful-looking hold. What? You're not getting into drinking contests with Mugen again, honey. Yashiro drawled lazily. The renegade nobleman opened his mouth. No. No means no, Han, Yashiro said calmly. And puppy eyes won't work on me, too. Forget it. Spoil sport. The sniper muttered petulantly. Last time was a goddamn fucking disaster. You're not getting us banned from another bar again. Yashiro smirked as she watched the pitiful-looking sniper hung his head sadly. Now, honey, she cooed, patting his head. It won't be so bad. Why won't the two of us? She lowered her voice, whispering into his ear. It took less than 2 seconds for a silly smile to appear on Kyo's face. Oh, you're so on, he said gleefully, almost skipping. Now I'm honestly afraid of whatever you told that pervert. Hana raised an eyebrow. Though I must admit you push his buttons like no one else. Yashiro smirked, buffing her nails. I'm the best bitch. The best. She giggled sinisterly. Oh, that's gonna be so fun, she shivered, licking her lips. Just don't overdo it, girl. You're still technically in recovery, Hana cautioned. Faye. Yashiro sniffed. As if you're the one to talk, miss, I will screw my man till morning in Izuka. True, but I at least bullied medics into healing me, Hana said smugly. Rats? Yashiro scowled. That's not fair. Is that jealousy I hear? Hana said gleefully. Fuck you, Yashiro muttered. Who's such nasty words, princess? Hana cooed. Did I hit a nerve? Yashiro sniffed. Naruto just sighed. How did I end up in this asylum anyway? He thought, shaking his head, before blinking as he looked forward. Oh hey, the garden is new. Ryoko was busy, I see. Nice. Very, very nice. Haku looked at it with eye of a true professional. And she planted it so fast, too. I'm a little jealous. Those roses are really beautiful. Well, if you ask Ryoko, I'm sure she can give you samples, Naruto said helpfully. You're right. The pale girl smiled. That is Ryoko-san, after all. Hana. And Mugen. Yashiro, Kyo, Tenri, even Haku. Ryoko smiled widely, ushering them. You haven't been around for months. Please come in. I just baked a cake. The Team 4 hung their head with embarrassment collectively. If there was a mother for the band of outcasts known as Operations Team 4, Akiji Ryoko was her. A former jounin and Anbu herself, Ryoko retired from the service to concentrate on her children and leading the Akiji clan after her father passed away. Like Masato, the team's former captain, she had nothing but a kind word and advice for them, and her home was always open to her husband's former subordinates. She was a beautiful and warm copper-haired woman with full lips that always seemed to smile. It was hard to believe that she was once the Shurin no Yurei, one of the deadliest assassins in the history of the NBU. But then, aside from Tenru, people never thought much of Team 4 either. I'm sorry we haven't been around, Ryoko-san, Hana muttered hesitatingly, shifting nervously. We had a lot of... Oh, don't worry. Ryoko waved the concerns away with a smile. I know how Anbu gets. You're here now, right? That's all that matters. Though her eyes flashed dangerously. I advise you to at least drop a word, If not for Kanna's generosity, I wouldn't know if you are alive or dead. Why yes, ma'am, Hana said, paling. That's a promise, okay. Ryoko beamed. I will make sure that they keep it, Ryoko-san. Haku smiled cheerfully. You will, won't you? Both women smiled sweetly at the 5ANBU. Kaya! Haku's so cute, Ryoko squealed. And you've gotten even more beautiful, too. So delicate and graceful. Like a princess. I'm so envious. Ah, it's nothing, I can never equal you, Ryoko-san, Haku said, blushing. You're so much prettier than I can ever be. Nonsense, Ryoko said cheerfully. You are getting more beautiful each time I see you. You're already more beautiful than this old woman can ever hope to be. But Ryoko-san, you're not old, Haku said indignantly. You're not old at all. It is just me who is so immature still. Kaya! Ryoko glomped the girl. So sweet. You know, I kinda see the resemblance, whispered a wide-eyed Kyo. Scary. You are afraid? Said Naruto. And what am I supposed to say? If she gets as scary as Ryoko-san, Naruto paled. Oh, Kami, he whimpered. Nah, are you too? The blonde paled, looking full on at Ryoko's frown. I do hope you're treating her well, young man. Why yes, ma'am. The blonde ANBU nodded vigorously. See? Ryoko smirked, turning to Haku. That's how you handle him. He's a bit of a blockhead, but a good boy. She frowned, peering at Naruto. Oh my. You've grown again. Soon you'll be taller than Hana. Well, Idio happened to be a teenager with a completely fucked up maturation cycle. The blonde muttered. What was that? Ryoko smiled sweetly. And nothing. Naruto paled and Kyo snickered. And do you have something to add, Kyo? No? The true sniper swallowed nervously. I thought so. Ryoko smirked triumphantly. Now come on in. The cake should be all right and the kids will be delighted to see you after so long. And Hana. Hana laughed as the 6-year-old first part of twins, the long-haired Aoi, barreled into her. Hey there, Squirt. She chuckled, spinning the little girl. Naruto felt a tug at his leg as the other twin, the serious-eyed Hotaru, tugged at his leg. Yo. He grabbed her. How you been, Firefly? Bored. The girl shrugged. Mom won't let me play with the daggers. She took them. Naruto corrected the girl, ruffling her hair, cut into near identical way to his wild, spiky haircut, though sandy blonde, like Misato's. If you start talking like me, your mom will start chasing me around with the sword. Or worse. She won't feed me anymore. Naruto said seriously. No, she won't. The 6-year-old said with absolute certainty. She likes you too much. Let's keep it that way, eh? He smirked as the girl pulled down his mask. She'd been bugging him to get one exactly like that for past year, exploiting his weaknesses shamelessly. He supposed that he would break sooner or later too. He couldn't deny her anything ever since he had met her when he came around to the Masato Taicho's house the first time. But daggers, I think we can get around that, eh? He smirked. Show me your wrists, okay? He looked covertly, but Ryoko was still busy chatting with Haku, Tenru, and Yashiro. Hana was piggyback riding laughing Aoi on Ikimaru's back and the girl was having a grand time. Well now, he muttered with a sinister smirk, pulling out a small brush. Now, don't show it to anyone. He charged a little bit of chakra in a precise pattern, sketching a simple design just above Hotaru's wrists, so it could be covered by sleeves. That should be enough. He muttered critically. What is it? The girl looked at the seals curiously. B-Class Storage Link Quick Access Seal. But only for one, small object each. He grinned, opening, snapping his palm through the air quickly. Hotaru's eyes widened as two short, beautifully crafted, if simple, daggers appeared in his hand. He twirled the daggers briefly, offering them to Hotaru. Now, the seals are simple. He showed her the short sequence. Do it in reverse for storage. Like this. He demonstrated slowly. Can you do it? Hotaru grabbed the daggers, then slowly went through the sequence as the weapons sealed themselves in her wrists. Excellent. The blonde nodded. Let's keep it our little secret, okay? Sure. She nodded seriously. I won't let mommy chase you with the katana. She smirked. Why, I'm so touched. He muttered, ruffling her hair. I won't have anyone to give me the daggers then, she said with a sage nod. Heh. You learn fast, kiddo. He smirked, patting her head. Just don't let mom catch you. And if you get better, I might think about giving you a sword or two, who knows? Hotaru's eyes lit up. I will. I will train and get better. I promise, she said with determination. Masato Taicho, your kids, they are just like you. Naruto thought as he watched Hotaru look at him with her blue eyes glinting with pure, stubborn willpower. We'll see. He nodded at her. Until then, just be careful, okay? She nodded curtly. Cake. Naruto mused. Don't you want your part, cake? The blue eyes widened with panic. I want my cake. The girl ran off. Giving her such expensive things again, Naruto stiffened as Ryoko sat beside him. You'll spoil her, Naruto. I've got hundreds, if not thousands of blades. I get more every week. I can afford it. The blonde shrugged. And she likes them. No dolls, just pointy steel. Ryoko shook her head with amused exasperation. She is just like her father, that girl. I thought you'd be getting on my case because I gave her weapons. As if I could keep her away from weapons. Ryoko laughed mirthlessly. Too much shinobi blood in that girl. From both Masato's side and mine. She is a natural-born kunoichi, that one. Did you know that her first word was sword? Not mom or dad. Sword. No. Hotaru, there is no stopping that. She is too much like Masato. Sorry. Naruto said after a long silence. Don't be Naruto, she said, looking at him. I still miss him. That won't change. But I have my daughters and my son. And 5 other big children to remember him by. She ruffled his hair fondly. It is not so bad. I think he'd be very proud of you. Of all of you. I miss him, Naruto said, lowering his head. And I know others do too. Masato Taicho, he was one of the kind. Yes, I know. Ryoko smiled gently. If he wasn't, I wouldn't have married him, now would I? She hugged the blonde. You know, I still remember the day when he brought that strange blonde shrimp here. That rude little boy in that comical mask and the uncomfortable set of Anbu armor. Remember him? She grinned. Not much has changed. The brat is still rude. The mask is still stupid. But she looked at him. I think the brat is a man and a shinobi Masato would be proud of. I know I am. She laughed softly. Konoha's Mugen no Ken, you've come far from that little angry outcast, Naruto. Well, I'm still an angry outcast. He shrugged. And I managed to pick up several bad habits. Some enemies. And a B-class bingo book rating. But otherwise, not much has changed. Outcast? Ryoko laughed. Oh my, Naruto, are you really? A team that would give life for each other in a blink of an eye. A tight group of friends that might as well be family, and 2 fine women to share your life with. She frowned. Which reminds me. We will have a talk about that, young man, she said ominously. But really, if that is an outcast, I'd like to be such an outcast any day. Hey, yeah. He closed his eyes. I guess you're right. Sure I am. She smirked. Now come on, let's eat some cake before Hataru and Tenra decimate it completely. It was a simple gravestone. No frills, despite the fact that Akiji clan was very rich and could afford the most lavish tomb. But Masato was never one for frills. He liked things straightforward and functional. The inscription was simple. Akiji Masato. That was all. Masato Taicho would approve. Masato Taicho Hana led the group as they stood in typical ANBU formation in front of the tombstone. We are here. We'd just like you to know. We are still here. Still together and doing well. We screwed up a little, but we are alive. Just like you taught us. We all returned alive. So don't worry. Just watch over us, please. They bowed to the tombstone. We swear, Hana said, looking at her soldiers. As Team 4, we solemnly swear. No matter what happens, Kyo picked up smoothly. We will not break our bond, our oath, Ishiro continued. We will never fall alone, we will never let go, Naruto nodded. We will keep on going to the end, no matter the cost, Tenra continued their chant. We will go forward together, they said in unison. So please, Taicho, Hana bowed her head respectfully. Just watch over us. The party, if one might call it that, was in full swing. Cake was gone, but it didn't take long for another one to appear again. Hataru and Tenra glared at each other over the last part of the first cake until Kyo finally got annoyed enough to cut it on half with one of his thrown kunai. The glare they leveled on him could be equal to a S-class offensive jutsu. Kyo hid behind Ishiro. The coward. Naruto chuckled, taking a long drag of his herbal cigarette. Aoi was on the ground, Ikimara sprawled by her side, carefully watching the little girl as she happily used the war dog as a pillow after playing tag with Hana. Ninja tag. That girl, Naruto shook his head. Hataru, like Masato and Naruto, was a weapon and ninjutsu nut. But Aoi would one day be either a genjutsu specialist or a medic nin. Probably genjutsu. She's way too devious and sneaky to become a medic nin. She'd be bored in a day. Barely 6 years old, and she already could do the tree walking exercise, as she presented by following the astonished Hana to the trees by running on them. I wonder where is Shuichi? Naruto frowned. He should be Dia. Right. 2nd year of the academy. That means jutsu practice. He turned when he heard the front gate being opened. Speak of the devil. He smirked at the blue-eyed, copper-haired boy. Yo. To his credit, the kid first looked to confirm if he was really without the mask. Ryoko and her kids were one of the very few people who knew that Mugen and Naruto were the same person. But they were ninja children and from a noble clan. They knew how to keep secrets. They wouldn't go calling him Naruto when he was wearing mask and armor. Ryoko trained them well. Akiji clan had no blood limit, but they were a very old family, older than Konoha by far, like Inuzuka. In fact, there was an ancient alliance between the two, one that continued unbroken for centuries. Naruto. Shuichi beamed. I didn't know you were coming around. I'm on leave. And others are here too. The blonde smirked. How you been, Shu? Bored. The redhead scowled. I thought the academy will be fun, but those things are dead boring. I mean, I can throw kunai already. What do I need the trajectories and ballistics for? You either throw it right or not, right? I see the academy didn't change much. Naruto shook his head. Some of the things are useful, but the most, well, once you become genin you'll see. He shook off some ash from the cigarette. Tenra's inside if you want to bug her. I don't have a. With a small hiss, a Chisai katana appeared in Naruto's hands. Heh. Shuichi's eyes glinted as the blonde gave him the weapon. Shuichi went in and Naruto took a long drag from his cigarette. He exhaled the smoke. There was a loud crash. Tenra Shisho. Teach me. Another crash. Shuichi came out of the room, flying, and stopped on the grass. That looked painful. Naruto frowned. I won't give up. The boy charged again. Tenra Shisho. Teach me off. I'd give you 10 for enthusiasm but 0 for execution. Naruto smirked. Keep trying. The boy got up, little slower this time, determination blazing in his eyes. Tenra Shisho. Ow. Naruto winced sympathetically. Now that just had to hurt. Impatient. Learn patience. Baka. Deshi. Tenra came out of the room to the veranda and stepped on the training field. Stance, she said calmly. Yes, Shisho. Shuichi, still dirty and dusty, assumed the correct defensive stance. Neutral. Baka Deshi. Am I attacking you? Now? No, Shisho. He dutifully shifted. Good. She nodded curtly. Feet solid base. Good. Attack. Now. Naruto watched curiously as Tenra put the boy through his paces without a shred of mercy. Akaji clan had a sword style, but amazingly enough, the only one that Shuichi wanted to learn was the one practiced by Tenru. Which was a little odd since it wasn't very flashy one, but insanely demanding. And Tenru was a brutal, if effective teacher. Shuichi started bugging her a year ago, when he started the academy. After Ryoko gave her blessings, Tenru agreed to teach him. She had no mercy for the boy and trained him as if he was an ops rookie. But to his credit, Shuichi asked for none and kept on training without a word of complaint. Stubborn brat. Naruto chuckled. The lesson was short, to the point and painful. Tenru didn't crush him senselessly. She hit where it hurt, true, but never with excessive force. Just enough to show the holes, to improve on the good, and correct the wrong. Then she calmly explained where he went wrong in an unusually vocal display and gave him a list of exercises he should spend time doing until the next lesson. Boy soaked her words as if a revelation from a kami, not wavering in his attention for a second. Little fanatic. Damn. A male Tenra for the younger generation. I almost pity the poor fuckers that will be fighting him in the taijutsu spars. With the regimen Tenra puts him through, even without the sword the kid will be a monster comparing to his academy peers. Naruto. Here. Tenra nodded to him. Me? What for? He raised an eyebrow. Sword is not an only weapon. Show him. Variety. She said curtly. Now? He protested. I've just eaten. Tenra just tapped her katana. If you want it so much, Naruto shrugged. Any rules? No external summonings. No assault ones. No mass summoning. Only to hand access ones. Close combat weapons. Sure. Want to tie my hands behind my back too? He said sarcastically, cracking his neck. I mean, that's inviting to get my ass kicked by you. Not. Sparring. Showcase. Of sorts. Varied weapons, varied ways of fighting. She took a loose stance. Go. All right. He threw the cigarette to the ground and put it out with his shoe. Let's do it then. By that time, all members of the small group walked out of the house to watch the presentation. Look well, Shu. Every weapon has different characteristic. Attack, defense, movement, and strategy. There is no such thing as a perfect weapon. But some things can get pretty damn close. Naruto grinned. Let's go, Tenru. He reached. And the weapon was there. 1, 2, 10, 50, hundreds. He lost count a long time ago. But he knew each of them. Could chose every in the split second. That's why he was the Mugen no Ken. His swords were not infinite. but they came pretty damn close. Katana was the first, appearing in his hand with a hiss. No seals. Once the Mugen no Ken was activated, it was unlike any other summoning in the world. Katana. Simple. Curved. Sharp. Cut. Occasional stab. He slashed at Tenru, who evaded nimbly. Good sword. But just a sword. A slightest of hisses only he could hear and Katana was gone, replaced by a nodachi. Nodachi. In essence a large katana. But it would be misleading. He made a sweeping strike on Tenru, who swayed out of it. Balance, power and speed completely different from a katana. Another hiss. Yari. He twirled it in his hands, a deceitful and blurring path of attack. Seems simple, doesn't it? But it has reach. Power. Speed. He thrust at Tenru, who ducked. Disadvantage? Tenru closed the distance, touching Naruto's throat. Opponent cuts the distance, you're toast. Yari went away. Another hiss. And now we're going exotic. Axe. Powerful. Slow. In right hands, however? Deadly as hell. And so it went. Kodachi. Wakizashi, Claymore, Samshire, Trident, Halberd, Battleaxe, Moonsword, Jien, Katter, Naginata, Dideo, Kwandao, Chakram, Dagger, Kanai, Dart, Samban, Kukri. One after another, they blurred in his mind. Some he had mastered. Some he never did. Some he knew in passing. But he had them all. Infinite Sword. Fei. I should be called Walking Arsenal rather. Mugen no Ken was a complete accident, which he secretly blamed the stupid Shiki Fujin and Kyubi for. Instead of unsealing a weapon, when he was half delirious from chakra overburn, he somehow ended turning it into a very odd summoning. He could add weapons to it, but once it was there, he could never get it out permanently. It was a summon then. Over the years, he had collected them. A lot of them. Swords, he had almost every kind of blade that ninja used, even one of the Mist 7 monster swords. And far less, but still plentiful examples of many other weapons, from kunai to such archaic things like spears and bows. Though Kyo would probably get offended if I called the bow archaic. And summoning the weapons to his hand was just a first step. There was a reason why every Konoha weapon master almost drooled at the prospect of possessing this summon. Pity there was no scroll. And he wouldn't give them one even if it existed. They'd probably kill themselves with chakra drain trying to pull some of his moves anyway. Hey, walking junk heap! Hana called. You can stop now. Naruto blinked. I can? Tenra nodded. Ah. Okay. He looked at the sword in his hand and almost froze. It was the familiar, simple blade with the Geku clan symbol on the hilt. Not awe-inspiring, but very solid weapon, very good quality. Kanzuya's katana, how nostalgic. He sighed. Hate gave him his brother's weapon as a sort of thank you and acknowledgement after the whole trial fiasco. It was a very touching gesture for him then. Still was. Despite everything, Hate believed him. He was one of the few who did. He dismissed the katana. The past was the past. There was no point in dwelling on it. And the future looks like a blue-eyed, bright-haired 6-year-old girl with that disturbing glint in her eyes. That was so cool, Hataru said reverently. Naruto and I-san, please teach me that uber cool, super awesome jutsu. Naruto hung his head. How did I know she'd react this way after seeing it? Naruto opened his eyes blearily. There was a strange taste in his mouth, as blurg. He winced as he recognized it. What the hell were we drinking last night? He shook his head, trying to get up, only to be stopped by something. Two somethings. Ah. Right. He gently unhooked Hana and Haku's sleeping forms from himself. Out like a light. Damn. That was some potent stuff. From the snores he could hear from the room on the side, he guessed Yashiro and Kyo didn't go home and collapsed here as well. He dimly remembered Yashiro starting some bawdy drinking song as they swayed and practically crawled back to the compound. He didn't envy them the hangovers. If he actually felt what he drank the day before. Heh. They're gonna be zombies till the late afternoon. If they don't sleep through the day. Stretching, he walked out of the room silently. Not that I need to be silent. No way they're waking up before noon still, force of habit was hard to break. He walked to the washroom, grabbing the towel and some clean clothes on the way. Good morning. He stiffened, before relaxing and turned to the side. True to form, Tenru was sitting in the large washtub, tea in hand. "Mornin'," he muttered, throwing off the dirty clothes. Being naked around his teammates, women or not, was no big deal. It took some getting used to, but after 3 years they've seen each other naked so many times it was a norm. Field poison decontamination and several other procedures have that effect. "I'm amazed you're up. And coherent," he said, sitting in the hot water with a groan. "Couldn't drink as much. Meds," she explained. "Made me speak like a moron, too." "Really?" he smirked. "Didn't notice." Tenru glared at him. He knew she was glaring. It took him 2 years, but he finally cracked the secret, even with her eyes hidden behind the hair. "By the way, you tried singing again," he said cheerfully. She froze with mortification. "What?" "I can now admit that Kyo getting pissed drunk and trying to throw burning matchsticks at a paper wall to make a smiley, trying to serenade Yushiro and pelting the barman's bald head with grape seeds to watch if they stick isn't the stupidest way you can get us banned from the bar. Your singing took the cake," he exclaimed gleefully, "but I admit, watching those people run was amusing as hell." Tenra hung her head. "Ever thought of making an offensive jutsu out of that?" Naruto frowned thoughtfully. "I'm pretty sure windows were cracking at one point. Would have made a hell of an attack, you know." "Don't push it," she growled. "I mean, really. Damn effective it was." He nodded sagely. "I will show you effective," she hissed, reaching for her ever-present sword only to freeze as her arms were immobilized by 4 swords, 2 around her arms each, while 2 nasty-looking swords held by Naruto himself were on the sides of her neck. If she so much as breathed deeply, they'd cut her. She knew that. "Fast." Her lips twitched in a smile. "You're getting better." "Nah. You're just hungover." He shrugged, and with a barest of hisses the swords vanished. They continued to soak in silence for a long while. "Kanna gave me the papers," he said after a while. "We know," Tenra said curtly. "Ah." He nodded lazily. "Good. So how about it?" "Hannah scheduled cross-training. We are starting as soon as the medical leave ends," she said simply. "Heh." He closed his eyes. "Who would have thought Masato Taicho would be happy as hell?" She nodded. "Got more tea?" he asked lazily. She pointed at the kettle near the tub. "Thanks." He grabbed a clean mug, pouring himself some and taking a sip. It was exquisite as always. But Tenra's always was. "Regulation 1 or non-regulation 1? He mused, eyeing the uniform, before smirking. What do I care?" He grabbed the simple shirt, black Anbu pants and the simple jacket, putting them on quickly. A kunai holster, a shuriken pouch that he could summon hundreds of them didn't mean he couldn't carry some just in case. A pair of gloves, sturdy boots instead of sandals, the mask, and he was good to go. He slipped the cloth over his face. "Well, let's go and see what the old man wants." A brief shunshin later, and he was off, as the lines blurred around him. I love shunshin after the kyushin. Clean. Crisp. Just like it should be. He came to a stop on a roof before engaging in another. Shunshin was generally useless as a battle technique. It had so many limitations it wasn't even funny. But for quick transportation it simply couldn't be beaten. Almost. There was one single technique that was far better. And it could be used for battle as well. The Hiration. Only so far people who tried to replicate it either failed or killed themselves. Damn shame. I wonder if there are some notes left by the Yandame, maybe I could try it. Tsunade said that Jiraiya helped Yandame to develop the Hiration. Maybe he knows something? Worth a try. Though I'd have to track him down first, but I'll have to think about it. He linked another shunshin, getting into another as soon as the second one ended. Not many ninja could do it like that. Even less could handle it like he did. Nothing like rapid regeneration, He stopped in front of the familiar door to the Hokage Tower and walked in. "I'm here to see the Hokage. I have an appointment," he said to the secretary who looked through her notepad. "Just a moment, Anbu-san," she leafed through the papers. "Mugen Operations Division Lieutenant, right?" She looked at him. The blonde nodded. "Go right in, Sarutobi-sama is expecting you." He nodded again, walking in. The old Hokage and the young Anbu looked at each other for a long moment. Sarutobi was the first one to break the silence. Good morning, Naruto. The young man nodded. You are feeling well, I hope? Has the process gone smoothly? Haku is very good at what she does, the Anbu said simply. That she is. The old man smiled thinly. And I imagine young Inuzuka heiress' presence helped. Naruto stiffened. Now, Naruto. I might be old, but I am the Hokage. The old man leaned into his chair. Did you really think that having close relations with your commanding officer and heiress to one of Konoha's noble clans would remain unnoticed? So? The blonde said warily. Oh, nothing. The old man waved his hand dismissively. As long as it doesn't affect your performance in the unit, I see no reason to interfere. I wasn't always old, you know. The young Anbu remained impassive. Same as always. You have changed so much, my boy. Sarutobi thought sadly. Where is that bright urchin screaming Hokage? Hokage, endlessly? Pull down the mask, please. And sit down. Naruto gritted his teeth, but complied. It was not a request. They both knew that. He sat down, rolling the mask, leaving it as a headband on his brow. Still hiding behind it, Sarutobi shook his head. 3 years of service, and people only know your mask. But not your face. Are you really okay with that? Being Mugen and not Uzumaki Naruto, I mean? Both are the same person. But people like Anbu better than they like Jinchuriki. Naruto smirked. Or have you forgotten Hokage-sama? Sarutobi sighed heavily. Still bearing a grudge, one thing that didn't change is your stubbornness. I didn't call you here to dig up old grievances, Naruto. I have a mission for you. One that only you can perform. I'm on leave, you know that, the blonde said, rising an eyebrow. And I have the 3 months of cross-training courses to go to after it. You approved them yourself. Cross-training courses? Hokage raised an eyebrow. You don't need those, Naruto. We both know it. Your counter-genjutsu skills are actually B-class, and because of your condition, you have underwent an equivalent of C-class medical course already. Only thing needed is medical division's approval, which is little more than a formality for you. So in essence, you have 3 to 4 months of leisure. Well, you are the one saying I need a vacation every time I see you. The young Anbu shrugged. I can think of a multitude of things I can spend my free time on. With so much back pay I almost don't spend yet. No problem. He smirked. I can imagine, the Hokage said dryly. But sadly, whatever you have you'll need to reschedule. Here. He gave him a folder. Read. Naruto grabbed the documents, opening the red-marked folder. His eyes went through the initial material, widening as his mouth tightened. Here it comes, Sarutobi thought tiredly. No, the blonde said coldly. I'm not doing it. Naruto, please do reconsider. You are the only one who see. No means no, Hokage-sama, Naruto said, gritting his teeth. And you can't make me either, since this is not an Anbu mission. Meaning I have an option to refuse. And I'm taking it. No. Naruto. Sharingan is vital to Konoha, the Sandaime said calmly. Moreover, Orochimaru can't get his hands on it. And we know for a fact that he craves it like nothing else. You've been to one of the laboratories during a mission a year ago. You know what he is capable of. If he gets his hands on the last loyal Uchiha, the consequences can be disastrous. So? Naruto shrugged. You don't need a third-rate nin like me who can't keep his emotions in check to watch the Uchiha. Sarutobi flinched. Especially if you have your number 1 jounin watching the brat. Naruto smirked. Or are you not sure that Hatake Kakashi, the great copy nin, the legend, the top Konoha jounin can't watch one genin? It is more than that. Sarutobi frowned. He will need to teach the team and Uchiha when the Sharingan. He teaches? Naruto said in mock surprise. Oh man. He does? Really? Imagine that. I didn't know that. I mean. That's enough. Sarutobi snapped, finally losing his patience. He is your former teacher and your superior, in every sense of the word. You will give him the respect he is due. Immediately as the words left his mouth, Sarutobi wished he could take them back, as Naruto's face turned into an expressionless mask. I did it again, goddamn it, he sighed. He was a patient man, but the boy's stubbornness was just so irksome. I'm sorry, Naruto. I know you think you have your reasons, but try to be reasonable about it. What happened to your team was a tragedy, yes? But it was no one's fault. The old man shook his head. Sometimes, things just happen. I would have thought that 3 years in Anbu taught you that. It will be a cold, damn freezing day in hell before I call him teacher. Hatake Kakashi taught me nothing. The blonde Anbu crossed his arms over his chest. Predictable. Sarutobi sighed. Sorry, my boy. I really am. Naruto Sarutobi leaned in forward a little bit, looking at the blonde. Let's make a little deal. It took all of his hard-earned professionalism and composure not to slam the door to the Hokage tower behind himself like some overly emotional kid. That. He seethed before sighing. Ah, damn. What the hell am I so pissed about? I should have seen this coming. Kanna-chan mentioned the third condition. Well played, old man. He admitted grudgingly, tapping the folder in his hand. There goes my vacation, I guess. Though vacation be damned, working with that shithead copy Nin again, I just can't get a break, can I? He sighed tiredly, lighting a herbal cigarette. He didn't need one so early after Kyushin, but after almost 3 years of smoking them, he more or less got addicted. And getting a small dose regularly was better for his system overall. Even one freshly purged. Damn it. He glared at the folder. This is so fucked up. So, that's the Tsukuyami, huh? He leafed through the folder lazily. Strange. If this is an S-class genjutsu with side effects like that, why isn't the Uchiha getting regular counseling? He didn't remember Sasuke much from his time in the academy, aside from the fact that all of the teachers almost drowned the brat in praise for his achievements, and reminding everybody how great the noble Uchiha Sasuke was. How good were his scores compared to the mediocrity of the rest of the students? Top rookie. Bet he's all proud of that too, the little shit. Naruto smirked. Oh, are you in for a fucking wake-up call, brat? From his own experience, he knew that most of the top rookies and geniuses got a very rude surprise in the real world. Leading the academy, they were used to praise, used to getting their own way and being the top of the food chain. Overestimation of their own abilities usually followed. And then reality came knocking, and suddenly the genius found himself a tiny fish in a really big sea full of sharks. That was the reason Neens with seemingly mediocre scores did better overall, and had higher survival rate in general. Question everything. Never assume. Always at least try to check when you have the opportunity. It was one of the first rules Masato Taicho taught him when it came to combat, and it had saved his life numerous times. So you ended with slight, okay, more than a slight paranoia. But you at least lived long enough to have that paranoia. Commendable faith in his own abilities. What is this shit? He scowled. Is the guy writing this report going for the most euphemisms in one psychological evaluation report? This is arrogance and extensive ego, right here. What the fuck is this supposed to be, a report or glorification of the great Uchiha Scion? What a pile of garbage. He leafed through pages. High combat ability Kanai is potential for blah 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 shit. Shit. Trash. Garbage. More trash. Ninjutsu level what? Oh, you gotta be fucking shitting me. So the brat can perform Gakyaku no Jutsu and he suddenly gets C-class ninjutsu ability? Hello. Gakyaku is straight C-class, but it needs little to no control. It is just concentrating expelled chakra in roughly one shape. Any genin can do this. Hell, any last-year academy student would be, if he was taught. An extreme perceptive Skio know now that just beyond retarded. Uchiha have one of the largest katan-type jutsu libraries in the village, save maybe the Konoha archives, you moron, and he has an unrestricted access to them. Which, by the way, is fucking stupid. What kind of fucking sunblinded, Uchiha-obsessed idiot wrote this? He snorted, going through several pages, until halting as he came to non-academy reports. Oh. Now. This is better. Anger management. Yeah. Kinda figured. Possible mental imbalance following well, gee. Fuck up a kid with an S-class genjutsu, and that's what you get. Living example, right here. And oh. Now this is rich. Itachi? Yeah, right. Dream on, brat. Itachi was an Anbu at your age. If he kept his growth at even the half of the speed he had shit. No way you can equal him as you are going now. As psychism, he frowned. Though the report was far better than the academy one, it was still far too clear-cut, far too straight for his peace of mind. A cover-up? Or the kid is masking. But that's kinda hard to see. Good shrinks can really pick you apart. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. No kid bounces back like that. I should know. He sighed, lighting another cigarette. Why do I have a feeling this shit will be more trouble than it's worth? He closed his eyes as a pair of cool hands gently started to massage his back. Good morning, Naruto-sama. Haku embraced him, whispering to his ear. Are you feeling well? More or less. He said lazily, enjoying the young woman's expert touch. And you? Waking up was a little rough. She chuckled. Hannah was a little disappointed you weren't there. I'll make it up to you both later. As you wish. She peered over his arm. A mission file? She frowned. Weren't you on leave? It's not an Anbu op. More like a favor for the Sanding. He grimaced. Naruto-sama, you need your rest, she said unhappily. Hokage-sama shouldn't put you in the field, and he knows it. Why the? Not field, he said lazily. Just a crappy bodyguard job. So I can see, she muttered, picking up one of the reports before freezing. Oh. He makes you work with that man? She said, her voice chilly. Damn it, he sighed. People looked at Haku and saw the beautiful, gentle, and kind young woman, a medic nin who saved lives. But there was a reason even Anbu were very careful around her. When people saw her rank, they thought she got the Tokubetsu Jounin for medical achievements. Her skills were that level. But her rating was pure combat 1. Or rather an assassination 1. Ironically, despite her occupation as an Anbu medic, her Anbu file mentioned assassination specialist first. There was a reason for that. Beautiful, kind, graceful, and warm, she was all of those things. He knew best. But under that veneer slept a cold, ruthless, and terrifyingly efficient killer. A cold, ruthless, and very protective killer. Easy. He got up, embracing her stiff body, which melted into him. I took it on my own. Not without some prodding, he said with a brief scowl. But on my own. I hate the bastard, but once I do that, I won't have to work with him ever again. I'm sorry, she muttered into his neck. I know. He smiled, grasping her chin. But don't worry. Things aren't the same like back then. This time, it will be different. So let me handle it, okay? As you wish, her hands closed into fists, a coldness returning briefly. But if he so much as toes out of line, that man. Naruto smirked. I almost pity you, Kakashi bastard. I honestly do. Almost. I don't like this. I don't fucking like this at all. Hannah scowled. You already said it. Haku said it. Yushiro said it. Kyo said it. Even Tenra did. Naruto sighed. Donning on a simple shirt, so different from his gear. Well, it bears fucking repeating. She growled. Not only protecting some brat on your off time, but also working with that shithead. I don't like this shit at all. Don't you have a cross-training to get to? He asked, annoyed, fastening the standard shuriken and kunai pouches. Not for another week, don't change the subject. She snapped. And Sarutobi-sama, I thought he was above fucking blackmail. Well, it wasn't blackmail. Naruto pointed out, grabbing the simple olive jacket. I do this, I don't have to deal with Kakashi again, and we get additional funding as well as pick of recruits of our choosing. We could have. Oh, shut up and just let me do this. Naruto muttered tiredly. I already took the mission anyway. So it's done. Okay. How do I look? Sufficiently genin? More civilian than genin if civilians wore the kunai pouches anyway. But yeah. She looked at him critically. Get a sword. What for? He raised an eyebrow. Well, unless you want to use the Mugen no Ken, she shrugged. Point. He sighed. He was so used to having every one of his weapons on hand that even the thought of limiting himself was annoying. The things I do for the sake of that stupid mission, he muttered with disgust. Now what should I? His mind went through several choices until he had an idea. Heh. He reached, summoning the familiar moon-branded katana. Hello, Jujin? He muttered with a smirk, summoning the sheath. Like katana, it was subtly marked with the Gecko clan symbol. Kanzuya's katana, huh? Hannah sighed. Cruel bastard, aren't you? She smirked. I approve. Just making the great copy nin remember a little. Naruto sheathed the katana. We were, after all, his first team. It wouldn't do for him to forget his first genin team. Bastard to the core. She smiled fondly. I knew I loved you for something. He gave her a sideways glance. I see my charm won you over then. What charm? She snorted. Naruto, you've got no charm. You are borderline paranoid Anbu with issues, bottled up anger and mouth that works faster than your brain. You're a first-grade asshole and borderline psycho. Harsh. He muttered, raising an eyebrow. Complaining? Oh hell no. She laughed, embracing him. You may be a psycho, but you are my psycho. She bit his ear lightly. And don't you dare to fucking forget it. She murmured into his ear fiercely. I'm used as a chew toy by an overpossessive Inuzuka woman, Naruto said dryly. I feel so loved. Now this is nostalgic. This place didn't change a bit. Naruto walked through the academy halls. Ah, the hallowed halls of learning, the best memories of my childhood, ha. As if. He put out the cigarette, uncaring of the pristine floor, looking at the office doors. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Here it is. The blonde walked through the partially open doors. Whatever it is, it can wait. I have a class to Yumino. Iruka trailed off, looking at the young shinobi. Naruto, he said after a long silence. It had been a long time. Not long enough. Naruto shrugged. I'm here for the Team 7. I know. Hokage-sama already informed me, the Chunin said curtly. Good. Where are they? Classroom 9, the ground floor. They should be waiting for their Jounin sensei to pick them up right about now. As if that bastard will come on time. Naruto snarled mentally. Sandame told me you've got my paperwork. Yes. Iruka opened a drawer, withdrawing a small folder. Here it is. That's all? The teacher nodded. Good. The blonde turned on his heel, walking out. Naruto. Naruto halted, turning to the Chunin. Iruka's face was expressionless, but there was no mistaking the tone. Good luck, he said in a subdued tone. Luck? Naruto raised an eyebrow mockingly. There was a team once that needed luck. They got one of the worst deals possible, he said emotionlessly. If that's the luck you're referring to, I don't want anything with it, Yumino-san. Iruka flinched. Besides ninja who relies on luck? Not much of one. The genin snorted. But if you don't know that, no wonder you never made jounin. Naruto turned to the door. Keep your luck. I'd rather rely on skill. Not that you know anything about it. He walked out briskly. Iruka closed his eyes, sighing tiredly. This could have gone better. Not even 10 minutes and I'm already like that. Naruto shook his head. Getting some petty revenge on one stupid Chunin, how petty can you be? And this guy isn't even worth it. He grimaced. This place, it makes me sick. He opened the door, scanning the classroom. True to form, every genin team was already out, save the 2 genin candidates. The black-haired boy was sitting on the end of the classroom, his face a stony mask, while a pink-haired girl was sitting on the edge of the seat, inching towards him with a blush. Well, the Uchiha princess is here. Who's the little fangirl, though? She seems familiar, Naruto mused, walking in. Yo. He raised his hand lazily. You're Team 7, right? The girl snapped her attention from Uchiha for a second, while Sasuke just looked at the blonde with impassive face. What is it to you? I'm here as the 3rd team member. He sat on one of the tables. Uzumaki Naruto. Uchiha Sasuke. The black-haired noble said curtly, frowning. This guy, he is kind of familiar. Harino Sakura. The pink-haired girl introduced herself. Iruka-sensei told us we'll be having somebody joining us. I'm sorry, but have we met? She said hesitatingly. You just seem kind of familiar. So that's why she seemed so familiar. Naruto thought. Now I remember her. Yamanaka girl's little tag-along with a big brain and zero confidence. And apparently an Uchiha fangirl to boot. Damn. We've met, he said curtly, pulling out a cigarette. This is a non-smoking area, the girl said. It is? He lit his herbal concoction. Really? I didn't know that. Well, there's a plaque. She trailed off. So would you mind? She gestured to the cigarette. Oh, you want one? He blinked, pulling out his box. No. Her eyes narrowed. You're making fun of me, she said accusingly. Fast on the uptake, isn't she? Naruto thought dryly. Cigarettes? The Uchiha snorted with disdain. Not much of a ninja, are you? Naruto shrugged, taking a long drag. Sakura scowled. How can he be so rude? If any of the teachers caught him, what, does he think smoking makes him look cool or something? Sasuke doesn't need to smell like an ashtray to be cool. Naruto took off the jujin from his back, putting the katana in easy reach, and grabbed a scroll from his pouch. Seals were a fascinating topic, and he had around 2-3 hours until the shithead copy Nin appeared anyway. Might as well get some reading in. My first impression is Kakashi halted for a second, his one visible eye widening slightly at sight of the katana on the desk. That you are all brats. Meet me on the roof. Naruto smirked, closing his book. Heh. Uncomfortable, copy asshole? Meet and greet. I wonder if he does it every time. Probably. My hobbies. I don't have a dream. More like ambition, to revive my clan and to kill a certain man. Oh, and put more dramatic pause there, you attention whore. Naruto grimaced inwardly. Cold, uninterested demeanor, leave me the fuck alone face, but couldn't help to deliver this juicy little morsel, could you? He sighed. He supposed he was a little too harsh here. But he was still annoyed with the whole matter. And Uchiha was just so damn convenient target. As an over-angsty Bishounen and sliver spoon-fed little genius, he was everything he disliked in people. The fact that Sasuke was a symbol put in front of his eyes most of his life with comments how worthless Naruto himself was also played a role. Though Bishounen looks damn. It's not like I have something against Bishounens. Mirumoto is as Bishounen as they come. The guy is goddamn prettier than most women, for Kami's sake. And I have no problem with him. He frowned. Though the fact he kicks ass left and right and is as easygoing as they come probably helps. He decided, thinking about his fellow ANBU lieutenant. Naruto. Your turn. Uzumaki. The blonde looked at the copy Nin. And what for? You already know me so well, don't you? He said sarcastically. They don't. The copy Nin said curtly. Don't be difficult, Naruto. Just do it. Uzumaki Naruto. 13. I like weapons, my friends, my girlfriends, cigarettes and ramen. Dislikes are people who overestimate their abilities and can't admit their own mistakes. He smiled at Kakashi thinly, and the copy Nin just sighed. Dream? To remain with my friends, I guess. I don't have any particular goals beside getting better. Now that the formalities are out of the way, I will tell you something, Kakashi began. Naruto rolled his eyes. I knew it, he's got that whole routine memorized. It's exactly the same like the one 3 years ago. Geez, at least go original, you lazy asshole. So, Sandaime sent you? Kakashi looked at him, his visible eye apathetic. So it seems. Naruto lit a cigarette. Cigarettes? I see you've gotten another bad habit. The copy Nin sighed. As long as you remain under my command, I want you to stop. Oh, do you? Naruto exhaled the smoke slowly. And why is that? It cuts your battle ability, and the smoke can be felt from the distance. The copy Nin said curtly. Besides, aren't you a little too young for that, Naruto? Uzumaki. Naruto took a drag off his cigarette. I think I told you not to call me in such a familiar manner, Hataki. If I'm old enough to die for this village, I'm old enough to smoke. Not under my command, Kakashi said simply. Command? Naruto chuckled. And whoever said that I'm under your command, Hataki? Sandaime assigned you to help me watch over Uchiha Sasuke. That means you are even more of my subordinate than the rest of Team 7. The copy Nin shrugged. Actually, bastard, I'm not here to help you at all. You are to lead Team 7 as normal and concentrate on teaching them. Watching over the emo boy is my job. If anything, you are to help me. This is ridiculous. Hataki's eye narrowed. You are a genin, I outrank you several times over. The spot was secluded, and he knew for a fact that there was no one around or his diagnostic jutsu would pick them, so. Haven't been keeping up with your ANBU buddies, have you, Hataki? Naruto asked. Bad form all the way, copycat. Kakashi wasn't called genius for nothing. His mind quickly caught the meaning behind the words and his eyes widened as everything fell into place. Your ANBU, he said, his eye widening. You seriously didn't know? Naruto blinked. Kakashi just looked at his former student. You really didn't? Naruto laughed bitterly. I should have known. Out of sight, out of mind, eh? You haven't changed at all. He exhaled the smoke. For your information, Jounin ANBU Operations Division, Operations Team 4 Lieutenant. Kakashi's eyes narrowed even further as he heard the words. The ANBU smiled pleasantly at the silent copycat. From this moment on, the mission of protecting Uchiha Sasuke had been assigned to me. You are ordered by Sandaime-sama to cooperate to the full extent of your abilities, Jounin. The blonde exhaled smoke lazily. Kakashi just blinked. Not bad for a talentless brawler with issues, isn't it? Naruto smiled sardonically, before using a soundless shunshin to vanish, leaving the copy Nin to stare at the empty space. Tests for all. You're what? Naruto said, his eyes wide. Getting married. Yuzuki sipped her sake calmly. Oh. He sat down, dumbly. That's well, isn't it kind of sudden? He said lamely. I mean, hi, it's intelligence, your Anbu captain. Hate is leaving intelligence. My tour of duty lasts only till the end of this spring. Ah. Naruto nodded slowly. Man, that's a surprise. He admitted. Isn't it kind of sudden? Not really. Yugo shrugged. We've been talking and well, 2 years is more than long enough. I know Hate wants kids. So do I. What's the point of drawing this out? When you put it that way, the blonde muttered thoughtfully. What about your team? I've talked with Sayoko recently and I think she'll make a good captain. Kana agrees, so there should be no problems there. Sayoko, huh? Naruto frowned. Not a bad choice. The violet-haired woman nodded. Well, all I can say is congratulations, you two. The blonde smiled. Damn. I still remember your first meeting, who would have thought? Yugo blushed lightly. We promise not to speak of this again, she hissed with embarrassment. But it was such a foo. Not a word, Uzumaki, she growled. Okay. He raised his arms apologetically. Not a word. I get it. They sipped their sake in silence, until Naruto opened his mouth, only to stiffen and relax immediately as a shunshin ended. Naruto, coughed a bewildered Hate. Lost your mask? Actually, I'm incognito, the blonde said dryly. So I left my face home. Ah. The sick-looking man coughed again. Hate, I love you like a brother, but please, for Kami's sake, go to Haku and get something for that chronic cough. Why? The man coughed again. Because it's damn annoying? And to end up with those cigarettes of yours? No thank you. The jounin sat next to his fiancée. First off, cigs were not Haku's idea, but Tsunade's. The blonde pointed out. And you've got that chronic cough thing going. I doubt she'd give you high-level chakra stabilizers for that. I'll pass, he coughed, eyeing the katana. I see you have it with you. Naruto blinked before grabbing the sword. Sorry, he muttered, getting ready to store the weapon back. No. Hate grabbed his hand. Don't. It is good to see it used. Okay. Naruto nodded slowly, as Hate let go of his arm. Did Yugo tell you about the wedding? Yeah. She dropped that on me already. The blonde grinned. Finally making an honest woman out of her, Hate? As if you're the one to talk. I'm kind of young for that. The blonde shrugged. Besides, it's not like I can marry them both anyway. Actually, you can. Yugo took a sip of her sake. You just need to marry Hana first. What? The blonde looked at her incredulously. In Izuka are nobles. Multiple partner marriages are not as common as they used to be, but they happen, the woman said calmly. Hana might be a nobility, but I'm not, Naruto pointed out. It doesn't matter in that case. The law states that higher status overrides lower. If you married her, you'd have equal status, making you nobility as well. Then you could marry Haku. People actually do that? Naruto said in amazement. Pretty much. Yugo shrugged. Naidame Hokage had 3 wives. Yondaime himself was betrothed to 2 at one point, if I remember correctly. One from Konoha, the other from Iwa. Obviously for political reasons, but he'd have married them both if not for his untimely death. Wow. I didn't know that. Naruto muttered with a frown. As I said, it's not common, but it still happens. She turned to Hate. And for your sake you'd better not be thinking about a second wife, dear. Ah no. No. You're more than enough for me. Hate coughed. You're the light of my life, how could I look at another? Good choice of words. The Anbu woman smiled serenely. Coward. Naruto grinned at the swordsman. Laugh all you want. Hate looked at him with a smirk. I'll be the one laughing at your wedding. Loudly. Faye. As if. Naruto leaned into his seat. Inuzuka wouldn't let me marry her, and you know it. She's not only a noble, but also the clan heiress, and I'm the village pariah with a demon in my stomach. I'm amazed I didn't have an official delegation of Inuzuka politely warning me to stay the hell away from her by now. They might tolerate me as things stand, but marriage? No. They won't let it happen. Yugogo raised one eyebrow. That's what you think? She thought with an inward smirk, remembering her last outing with Sim and their casual conversation. Almost too casual. With far too many questions about a certain blonde. Personal ones. That's what you think. Anyway. Hade coughed. How about being my best man? Naruto blinked owlishly. Excuse me? Hello, Naruto-sama. How was your day? Haku smiled as he walked in. You know, Naruto frowned. I have no idea. She raised an eyebrow. Well, I had the meeting with Kakashi and the Team 7, so that's kind of low point. He muttered. On the other hand, I've just been asked to be a best man. Haku blinked. On Yugogo and Hade's wedding. Both of them. Oh my. They are getting married? Haku said happily. So Yugogo-san really went through with that. Huh. He looked at her bewildered. Naruto-sama really? She shook her head with a smile. Do you honestly think Hayate-san would ask her himself? Don't you remember how they started dating? Oh. Point. He nodded. Yuzuki Yugogo and Gekko Hate were well, not enemies, but certainly not friends. Then they had that disastrous mission that ended in a rather bizarre way, with feathers, silk, shredded uniforms and mutual embarrassment. And Hate blanching each time he saw Yugogo. Yugogo was a very sensible person. Really. She didn't hold the accident against Hate. The deer in the headlights look he displayed each time he saw her, on the other hand, she did. For a rather calm, near emotionless gal, Yugogo could be damn scary when she wanted to. She decided he needed to get over the fear in a simple and very direct method. She walked to him, cornered him and declared in her normal deadpan that he was to take her on a date and show her a good time. Or else. It was one of the oddest courtships he had ever witnessed, not that he witnessed a lot of them. But still, the only odder pair he knew of were Kyo and Yashiro. Wait. You've spoken with Yugogo about that? He blinked. Well, she does come along often. Haku shrugged. And Hana is not much for girl talk. Ain't that the truth? Inuzuka Eris came to the room, a pack over her shoulder. All that stuff bores me to tears. What's with the pack? Naruto asked curiously. Mom's kicking me out. That idiot Shinji wrecked the whole left-wing training with Sotoru, and I don't exactly have a room anymore. You've got a lot of space, so I thought I'd move in. Sure, but Inuzuka compound is damn huge. Why not just take another room in a different wing? Naruto scratched his neck. We've got guests. Some bigwigs from the capital, apparently blood-related in some distant way, and some frilly little strumpet from Daimyo's court. Hana frowned, clearly irritated. They commandeered most of the space like you wouldn't believe. I can't believe that Mom let them. Nobles? Haku raised an eyebrow. That's surprising. And if there's a lady from Daimyo's court, they don't leave the court without a very good reason. It better not be some kind of omiai, or somebody will be in a world of hurt, growled the Inuzuka heiress. Omiai? Naruto and Haku looked at each other bewildered. Granny and Auntie Sanai had been harping around for the past year that I need to uphold the Inuzuka name and do my duty. Meaning a marriage to some noble fuck I've never even met. She scowled. As if. Isn't your clan more freewheeling about that stuff? Naruto raised an eyebrow. From what I remember, you told me your clan intermarries with commoners regularly, and it's no big deal. Yeah. But I'm the heiress. Hana grimaced. Besides, they've been complaining that as an ANBU, my life is dangerous, and I could die any moment. Bro is going to be a ninja too, so they want me to at least secure the family line. She growled. That, and they say I'll be an old maid if I don't marry soon. A vein bulged on her forehead. Old maid. Can you imagine that? I'm barely 17, for Cammy's sake. Hana, for a noble family you are well into marriage age. Haku said carefully. Nobles usually marry young and tend to have a child or two well before hitting their early 20s. Oh hell no. Hana scowled. Besides, I'm bonded to the blondie anyway. Not like I can marry someone else even if I wanted to. Naruto blinked. Bonded? Hana froze, blanching. Oh crap. So we are bonded, Naruto said slowly. Yeah. Hana nodded miserably. For good. Yeah. Permanently. Yeah. And that means. Yeah. Hana hung her head. Oh. Naruto looked at Hana, blinking owlishly. I think I need a drink. Yeah. Haku smiled serenely, putting 2 bowls of first-grade alcohol before them and pouring herself a third. Kanpai, she said cheerfully. Cheerful, ain't she? Hana muttered. Yup. Why, we shall be even closer now. Isn't it a reason enough for happiness? Haku blinked innocently. Hana and Naruto just stared. Have I told you that that girl sincerely scares me sometimes? Hana said to Naruto seriously. Don't worry. He patted her shoulder. There are times she scares me too. Ah, good to know. In unison, they chugged their alcohol without a blink. Haku smiled faintly. I wonder if they noticed the service they are drinking from? Haku thought with amusement. Uzumaki Haku has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Inuzuka wouldn't be bad as well. They wouldn't get married right away, of course. But something more official would be nice. Naruto-sama needed some stability, and it would be rather nice. I must thank Ikugo-san somehow, she thought with a giggle. Hana and Naruto ignored the odd shiver going down their backs and just poured themselves another shot. I am beginning to utterly hate that man. The utter calm of the delivered phrase made Naruto stand on his neck. Even Kanzuya, usually too proud to even admit something like fear existed for him, halted his kunai sharpening. Being the hot-blooded, rash and brash type, Saya was never calm. Or rather, she was never calm unless she planned bloody murder. She also never used proper, ladylike language and grammar forms. When she slipped into that and stopped using contractions, it meant she was pissed off beyond belief. The appearing cloud of smoke interrupted Naruto's slow descent into terror. Yo. Single visible I was upturned in Hataki's version of a cheerful smile. Sorry I was late, I got lost on the road of life. Naruto slowly backed away from the clearing as Saya got up, carefully dusting off her silks with dainty, ladylike moves. Kanzuya dropped his kunai along with pretenses and started to back off from the vicinity of the soon-to-be-dead jounin. Kakashi Dano, the dulcet tone was sweet, saccharine and worthy of the best geisha. You should not have worried over us. Verily, is it not learners' duty to await patiently for the wisdom of their teacher? Naruto blanched. Flowery speech, lack of contractions. Saya was going for a meltdown all right. Even Kakashi must have noticed the creepy vibes going off from Saya. Right, he blinked as she giggled softly, her mouth hidden behind her hand demurely. Anyway, the test is to get those, he showed 2 small bells, from me until the time limit expires. He took a small hourglass from his pocket and put it on the stone. Era? Saya's eyes were wide, her face a picture of polite confusion. Forgive this unworthy one, but there seemed to be only 2 bells, Kakashi Dano. Kanzuya went pale and started to lift his katana with his thumb every few seconds, creating maddening, whiny sound as the steel clacked and moved from the scabbard and back, which meant he was getting really agitated. Only at this revelation Naruto noticed that his hands were unconsciously trying to form first seal of the kawarimi. Kakashi, meanwhile, was digging himself a bigger hole with each second without a care in the world. Precisely, he said cheerfully. I advise you to come with the intent to kill, otherwise you will fail. Oh, both hands went to Saya's face, as she put on a look of scandalized agitation that wouldn't be out of place in Fire Kutri Daimyo's court. But we might hurt you. Kakashi's smile got a little wider and Naruto could actually see the mask stretching a little to accompany the eye. Don't worry about him. The explosion took even Kanzuya and Naruto by surprise, and they were ready for it. The debris, dust and broken earth from Saya's punch obscured the spot Kakashi was barely a second before. Don't worry, Kakashi Dano. Kanzuya raised an eyebrow, surveying the devastation. "SH you won't?" he said, gesturing at the figure carefully brushing off her silks. Kakashi stood few meters away, judging from his bugged eye, seriously freaked, his hand still in seal ending Kawarimi no Jutsu. Era Kakashi Dano, it is not nice to leave woman's presence with such haste. She might feel unwanted. And not saying goodbye is so dreadfully impolite. Saya admonished demurely. You should not do that, Kakashi Dano. Although it pains this unworthy one to chastise one as august as you seem to lack some crucial manners. Please, allow me to educate you. Saya's eyes lit with the familiar insane glint as she entered the stalking tiger, her favorite version of Koken, snapping her arms in a fast, circular move that revealed the spiked forearm guard she had under her silk blouse. Kakashi Dano, she said softly, the energy backlash accompanying the release of initial gate washed over the training area as her mouth contorted into a frighteningly cold mockery of a polite smile that was Saya's version of a berserker snarl. Please just die for me? Naruto's eyes snapped open as he stiffened, before relaxing. Memories, huh? He thought, surveying the familiar training ground. This place, it didn't change at all. He looked at the memorial stone, his mouth tightening as he read the lines of names, lacking that single, lone name. Hero Memorial, what a bunch of crap! He snorted, turning away. No place for failures, isn't it, you bastards? Fucking hypocrites. He reached for a cigarette with a sigh. I shouldn't have taken this mission. It was stupid. Even this place, the stupid place. He lit the herbal concoction. No backing out now, though. He looked at the memorial. Don't worry. I won't fail. I gave my word, after all. And I'd always keep it. Always. He muttered. Sooner or later, yeah. Just wait until then. He took a long drag, raising an eyebrow as he felt 2 chakra signatures closing in slowly. Wool gathering is over, it seems. Just as well. Being introspective, not me at all. His lips quirked a faint smile. Mission start. Where is he? Sakura muttered angrily. Honestly. It's just like the last time. 3 hours late. Is he really a jounin? Not that she minded spending time alone with Sasuke-kun, but… well, almost alone. She frowned. Uzumaki sat on the ground, engrossed in his book, yet another of his seemingly endless supply of those strange-smelling cigarettes in his mouth. What is he, eating that smoke? She thought with irritation. Each time I see him, he always smokes. And he's rude too. Though she looked at the blonde discreetly. He is so familiar. I know I've seen him somewhere before, but he said he's older, so maybe I remember him from the academy. Maybe Kakashi-sensei will know? Those two seem to know each other. Want something, Haruno? She blinked. You've been staring at me for quite some time now. Want something? He closed his book, putting it into the pouch on his back. Ah, no. I'm not sure. She gave him an apologetic smile. But I seem to remember you. We met? In the academy, I mean. I know that you graduated a year earlier since you're 13, but… The blonde opened his mouth. Finally. He sighed as a poof of shunshin announced Kakashi's presence. Yo. Kakashi's eye smiled. I got lost on the road of life. Naruto's eyebrow twitched. He really has this whole thing memorized. He has to. Goddamn you, can't you go original for once, you asshole? He could have mentioned the whole bell test thing to his team. Sure. But there was no point. He didn't know how Haruno compared, but he read enough about Sasuke and he knew the type. Unless the Uchiha learned of the vast gap between himself and the Jounin, he'd never agreed to cooperate with the rest of them. Well, at least they didn't try to face him head-on. He sighed. Shouldn't you be hiding, Naruto? The Jounin said cheerfully. Uzumaki, bastard. Uzumaki. The blonde said with annoyance. Honestly, is your memory going copycat? The Jounin arched an eyebrow. Are you planning on facing me head-on? Do I look suicidal to you? Naruto exhaled the smoke and threw the remnants of the cigarette away. I've just been waiting to finish my smoke. The copycat sighed. I think